Them on a good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. It depends on who's on a day in the world. Today, na other day, we not come back for can talk matters the way important to Sierra Leone thing. Today, now me they host this program today. And they stand in for Matilda J. Cole, is the CEO, whether they for me doing today. So do you una bear me because I'm not ever present this program before. I can appear as guest. This is not the first time. So una bear me a bit. So just in case things not go how it can be, like when Matilda can present them or CEO, una go give me that, una go forgive me for that. But with me, for let me get all with we want to do today. Fine, I get me very, very good people. Then I have to win. Is very, very good people. Then that's a Leone. We go add them voice for make we all understand and enjoy with you. They can talk both. And these are people that way, now people that way, now experts and get experience, so much experience in the media, in waiting they happen at salon. They're not even there for things safe. They're not waiting for say. So I can't introduce them people and they now. You see, I will call them, let them introduce themselves. We legal journalists, with journalists, I would like for yourself, introduce yourself, call your name. We get a journalist now, so investigating journalist. I want yourself calling name. You see, so I would like for yourself, introduce yourself. Tell the viewers then and your name and whether you be briefly, yeah. And well, I think to say I'll call you name Mr. Editayo Temple. Mr. Editayo Temple, you have to introduce yourself to the people then.
Yes, thank you, Madam Kadi. Fambulde mina Editayo George Temple, proprietor Universal Times newspaper, and we Fambulde can also call the investigative journalist. I greet you all well from Freetown, Sierra Leone, and yeah, I'm here with all the goodies in relation to waiting the happen at Sierra Leone now. I feel agreeable answer questions then wanna go ask me, owing to the fact that I'm on the ground and yeah, I'm privy to most of the things that will happen at the country presently. So I greet you now well.
The next person now we can introduce. Majority of Unanuan. Now we Queen of VOSL, the Queen of VOSL, Madam Fadima Savage. Madam Fadima Savage introduces herself here.
Good evening, me people. Then good morning, wherever we're day. Mina Fadima. I'm the host of Social Media Review on VOS Willica on Sundays. So I know say Unadea back today. I come join Miss Matilda in crew because ain't no day, but Madam Kadisi down at the place. And Mr. Tayo Taravi said get emergency. So they asked me for come join and no much by waiting they go on. So Madam Kadi is the host, like they say, you know, not the first time they host, so I know we be out with time, no get patience, because this is not the voice of Sierra Leone, like we can always say, everybody voice matter. We all they learn together. We all they try for push that don't go before. So Maka pass back to Madam Kadi, and then you know it will tell we, go lead we out for go, then we will continue the conversation. So again, Mina Fadima, and thank you, and unakushe for there.
Thank you, Fadima. Thank you. Now the next person I want to introduce now VOS the legal expert. Lawyer Mohammed Shilon. Mohammed Shilon, dear, say hello to the people then.
Thank you very much, Madam Kadi. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be in the world. My name is Mohammed Shilon. As Ms. Kadi said, I don't know about the expert part, but I'm a lawyer in North Carolina, and so I'm a co-host on the sister channel of VOS. So I'm so happy to be here this evening for join Madam Kadi for do this presentation, and also to be with the rest of my other co-hosts them, and also the guests from Freetown. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here.
Thank you too.
It's a pleasure.
Last but not least, the most popular man on social media, and that's on social media, where everybody know. He sleeps as I call that name, they say yes, I hear that name. No other person but Professor Mohammed Kutubu. Professor, you can introduce yourself?
Good evening, good morning, everywhere on the day. We're ready for here today and to say, help we can help with Sister Matira Cole and Mr. Tarawali. One thing we're very nice about VOS, now the flexibility with the ability for let people to move from one platform to the other. So my pleasure for come standing for them, two wonderful people they will not be today. We're actually glad for getting there and see how you able to navigate you out of this today. So back to you, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, all. So now they can start, they can go to the program proper now.
Before you start, Madam Kadi, before you start, somebody they say on the forum that the echo, you get so much echo from you. They say the presenter. He say if you can turn off your radio or something behind you to give them feedback, because then they talk of the echo on the.
I don't have any. The pastor will use me volume, but I don't get anything.
Yeah, they say too much echo. Yeah.
I don't know, Pastor reduce the volume, but I don't get nothing. I have to read it on.
Try reducing the volume. Maybe that will work.
Yes. I don't reduce the volume. Is that okay?
Well,
viewers,
I mean, I don't know. Ask the people. The people that do that, they get feedback or if too much echo, let us know, please.
The echo is still the echo.
Emmanuel Bangura. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, tell me, it's still the echo or it's all right?
Go ahead. I mean, if they will.
Okay. Right. Okay. So now they can go to the program proper now. And I don't tell when I say I just did one like how Matilda they do one. Matilda an expert in the show now. So when I all go help me, well, let me get what we want out of this program. Today we can talk about President Leone in the meeting where he go attend the United Nations, the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. So now that's what they can discuss today. We get other experts and yes, we all can give you their own views then, because now area where they all study very well. So we all they can learn from them. They know the area and they say fascinating also. So me say they can learn from them. Technical team, can we go on, please?
Yeah.
What do you want on the screen?
Technical team. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. As for me, I can hear you from my side here. I can get you clearly.
No, it's the technical team.
Okay.
The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Mr. Julius Maada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Julius Maada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
Mr. President, the Secretary General, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate you, Mr. President, on assuming the responsibility of steering the work of the 76th session of the General Assembly. I assure you of Sierra Leone's fullest support to during your tenure. I also commend your predecessor, His Excellency Volkan Boksier of the Republic of Turkey, for the effective and efficient conduct of the 75th session of the General Assembly. We deeply appreciate his efforts in galvanizing a multilateral approach to containing the COVID-19 pandemic and handling its multifaceted impact through several high-level meetings. I also congratulate the Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, on his reappointment. I assure him of Sierra Leone's continued support as he leads and coordinates the United Nations response to persistent global challenges. Sierra Leone associates with his call, among other equally important global matters, for prioritizing COVID-19 response, vaccine access, equity, tackling poverty and inequality, the impact of climate change, and promoting gender equality, human rights protection, and promotion. Mr. President, our collective aspiration as a safe, equitable, and prosperous future has been challenged over the last 2 years. As the world wrestles with the tragedy, trauma, and adverse impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, Sierra Leone appreciates all COVID-19 specific resolutions of the General Assembly and Security Council. Sierra Leone is also fully supportive of all policy initiatives that advance multilateral cooperation on fighting the pandemic and implementing measures to mitigate its long-term effects on lives and livelihoods. We believe that our collective commitment through multilateral partnerships will see our world through the throes of this pandemic, build resilience, and recover sustainably. The theme of this 76th session of the General Assembly, Building Resilience Through Hope, is therefore most appropriate and timely. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted lives and economies, constrained development due to repurposing of development finance and the withholding of private capital, escalated the threat of climate change, food insecurity, broadened the inequalities and justice, and increased fragilities. Nations risk not meeting the Sustainable Development Goals and building resilience against future shocks. However, amidst premature pessimism that the familiar world order has unraveled, Sierra Leone sees the possibility for renewed optimism and new growth. As a nation, we are grateful to the United Nations, friendly nations, and multilateral institutions that have worked with us to navigate the stormy period since March 2020. Mr. President, in Sierra Leone, through our Quick Action Economic Response Program, we are building fiscal resilience by investing in agriculture, human capital development, and expanding productivity through economic diversification. But we believe our post-COVID recovery will be anchored in increased private sector investments, international trade, and development financing in growth sectors. In that regard, we have created a conducive business ecosystem, amicably resolved business disputes, ratified international trade and labor instruments, and continued to make progress on the fight against corruption because it is good for business and governance. Our structured health preparedness plan that has been implemented with close attention to science and data has helped save lives and protect livelihoods. Mindful of the need to save lives and preserve human dignity, Sierra Leone has been proactive in interrupting transmission chains, curtailing infection, minimizing death, and mitigating the effects of COVID-19 on our population. We commend global solidarity around the provision of COVID-19 vaccines to our nation. Especially, we thank the People's Republic of China, France, the United States of America, the COVAX facility, and other multilateral institutions. We are ramping up vaccination rates and gaining greater vaccination coverage of our population. The worst of the Delta variant may be behind us, but we remain ever vigilant. Mr. President, throughout the COVID-19 period, we have done more to improve human capital development, support the most vulnerable of our citizens and communities, build strong institutions, create more inclusive democratic spaces, build infrastructure, and ensure public service delivery. To our minds, resilience is not to be hoped for. It is to be worked for, and diligently and purposefully so. We no longer wish to be perceived as a nation that is saddled with tragedies and failures of the past. We no longer wish to be seen and spoken about as a nation recovering from civil strife to Ebola, and from bad governance and economic gridlock to food and climate insecurity. We are a nation striving ever harder to fulfill our enormous potential. Our peaceful democracy has matured. Predictable, regular, and peaceful elections are the norm. Civil society actors are partners at all levels of governance and public service delivery. We have established an independent National Commission for Peace and National Cohesion to foster social cohesion and further consolidate peace in the country. Mr. President, we continue to remove threats to democratic freedoms and human rights. We have repealed a half-a-century-old seditious libel law. No politician or rights activist is imprisoned for expressing his or her beliefs. No journalist is imprisoned for the practice of journalism in Sierra Leone. We have abolished the death penalty in our nation. Throughout the COVID period, we have promoted the rights to education through creative solutions, including nationwide distance learning and hybrid education technologies. We have added 800,000 more learners, increased domestic education financing to 22% of national budget, and learning has continued throughout the period of this pandemic. Our policy of radical inclusion grants tuition-free and safe access to quality education to all learners, including pregnant girls, parent learners, children from poor and rural areas, and children living with disabilities. Coupled with comprehensive school safety measures, a revamped curriculum, hybrid education technologies, credible transition examinations, school feeding, school health, and other forward-looking policies, we are making steady progress in Sierra Leone. We seek partnerships to further expand these investments in education, technical training, higher education, and entrepreneurship. Only then can our young persons seize the opportunity to expand the economy, innovate and take advantage of 4IR technologies, and create new possibilities for our nation. In fulfillment of the right to health, we simultaneously battled COVID-19 and other disease burdens such as malaria, HIV, TB, thanks to Global Fund. Gavi has supported the provision of more vaccines. We are reducing maternal and child mortality right across the country and look forward to more partnerships to make even more progress. In respect of the right to work, we have regularly paid salaries throughout the COVID-19 period and provided support for vulnerable populations in Sierra Leone. There is greater internet penetration, and we are increasing energy access through the country through a mix of sources, including solar energy. Mr. President, Sierra Leone associates with international efforts to protect the rights of women, get more women workforce ready, expand access to resources, and promote gender empowerment and equity. Building resilience and inclusive post-COVID societies involves increasing access to justice in a safe and secure society. In Sierra Leone, we have expanded legal aid advice services to poor and underserved persons and establish special courts to fast-track cases for sexual offenses, social security, corruption, and small claims, among others. Sierra Leone urges global solidarity on access to justice and remedies for survivors of sexual violence. This is building upon our domestic effort against sexual and gender-based violence. In that regard, I have directed the mission of Sierra Leone to the United Nations to sponsor a standalone resolution on this issue at the General Assembly. Let this be the year that the United Nations will give all survivors of sexual violence the remedy they deserve. We will continue to work closely with partners on cybersecurity, digital public good, and to curb irregular migration of persons. We have complemented international action with local initiatives and cooperation models. Mr. President, the threat of climate change, land degradation, erratic rainfall patterns, rising sea levels and temperatures loom large. These together threaten food and water security, fish resources, and energy access. Sierra Leone is committed to all global climate action commitments and looks forward to participating in the upcoming UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow and in the 15th meeting of the Conference of Parties of the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. We are integrating climate-smart policies and projects into our development priorities. Last year, we established a statutory agency to enhance our capacity to deal with the full circle of disaster management. But as with other LDCs, the climate financing gap remains a key challenge to implementing our mitigation and adaptation measures. Accordingly, Sierra Leone joins other least developed countries in calling for a green climate fund to meet the $100 billion target to support the mitigation and adaptation plans of developing countries. Thus, we can create new green jobs, especially for the youth and women, create sustainable and inclusive communities, and build resilience against climate change shocks. Mr. President, in spite of this progress, our sub-region in Africa are confronted with peace deficit arising from violent extremism, piracy, and other forces of instability. The Continental African Union and sub-regional ECOWAS are fully engaged. We urge greater collaboration and closer partnerships by the United Nations with these bodies and governments to usher in a more peaceful sub-region. My country provides leadership to the Group of 7+, G7+, conflict-affected and fragile countries. We reiterate the nexus between peace and development and reaffirm our joint call for global ceasefires and the pursuit of peace through national dialogue and reconciliation. Only then can our nations walk out of fragility into sustainable development. Why the COVID-19 pandemic is universal? It has disproportionately affected countries such as ours in the G7+ group. The world's poorest nations face the grim challenge of global economic downturns, reduction in foreign aid, and increase in trade deficits. Therefore, the success of global recovery efforts will depend on the recovery of these. We depend on the recovery of these countries in fragile situations. We have undertaken voluntary national reviews and peer reviews as self-assessment tools to take stock of the progress we have made and challenges with which we must contend. We believe that with ongoing reforms, we can transition from fragility to a sustainable and resilient future. By investing in human capital development and building effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions, we believe that that future is attainable. Mr. President, a fairer and more equitable post-COVID-19 world order is possible when all nations and regions of the world can dialogue as equals. We must eradicate hierarchies of power and discuss our common concerns and shared aspirations as equals. Sierra Leone notes the remarkable progress made by United Nations and member states on decolonization. We therefore encourage member states to map out fresh approaches for the advancement of the decolonization agenda in line with the mandates contained in Resolution 1514. A post-COVID world order requires more partnership and more collaboration with input from all nations and all continents across the world. We cannot exclude the voices of 54 nations of the world and 1.2 billion of the world's population that live in Africa. We cannot justify those exclusions with power structures set 75 years ago. We must reaffirm our common values and address our shared aspirations as equals. We can start to redress these gross imbalances by reforming the Security Council to make it more broadly representative, efficient, and transparent, and thus to enhance the legitimacy of its decisions. Sierra Leone recognizes the demonstration of the commitment to instill new life in the discussion on the reform of the Security Council. As the coordinator of the African Union Committee of 10 on the reform of the Security Council, Sierra Leone is pleased to note progress made during the 75th session of the General Assembly in the acknowledgement of the wide recognition and broad support by member states for the legitimate aspiration of Africa to play its rightful role on the global stage. As asserted in the African Common Position articulated in the Ezewini Consensus and SAT Declaration, redressing this historical injustice against Africa is an urgent priority. Africa demands no less than 2 permanent seats, with all the rights and prerogatives of permanent members, including the right of veto, if retained, and 2 additional seats in the non-permanent category of the Security Council. On behalf of the African Union member states, I urge all members to demonstrate their renewed commitment towards reforming the Security Council and making it more representative, inclusive, democratic, transparent, and accountable. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by reiterating that Sierra Leone will work with partners to enhance the multilateral rules-based order, collaborate on our shared post-COVID global agenda, and build back better and more sustainably so. Thank you all for your attention.
Au nom de l'Assemblée générale, je tiens à...
On behalf of the General Assembly, I wish to thank the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone for the statement.
L'Assemblée générale, je tiens à...
Some of them, when I don't hear where the president on top of. So, the public go on for a waiting on our able to talk at one go. So I will ask Professor Kutubu if he can start, if he can able to share, take with me with the rest of the panelists.
Thank you very much. Well, as a matter of fact, I mean, nobody offer as soon as it is done. So I make me own article. I reply to Ian, the President of Ghana. And we suddenly 1-0 now the ludicrous talk of Africa getting 2 seats that the Security Council of the United Nations. Now they give me 1-0. First of all, the emission totally impossible. It not going to happen because Africa not get what it take for let them play league with the big guys. And the only big, in fact, the big guy, we don't even know big guys anymore. Because since the collapse of the Iron Curtain, now one nation you get now, you don't get that bipolar, how do you call it, you don't get anymore. Meaning that not only the United Nations in general, but in particular the Security Council, now an extension of the State Department, US, that actually really big US foreign policy, meaning all the third world countries, or as a matter of fact, everybody when they come, listen to it, America the tell now how in the union matching orders. The law get that clear like that. Since October 24, 1949, where they, get that understanding, where they ratify that, now they may not divide that in there. Then get the 5 permanent members, China, Russia, then Soviet Union, Russia, England, France, and UK. So 5, that's it. But as time they go on, by God part, China and Soviet Union no good again as time they go. Now here's why it's totally impossible for let Africa get a seat at United Nations. For Mr. Bio need, unfortunately, if a minister not actually electoral, as so it take for the United States let any treaty where they negotiate it be part of United States foreign policy. For that to happen, any treaty where the Security Council make, it get first get a senatorial confirmation because the Senate of the United States under the constitutional agreement that in get for confirm any arrangement, any treaty where they make for let it become a law. So America looking at a third world country making a policy for them, for let that be a part of the foreign policy, no, that don't work. So waiting actually Mr. Bio, we are in the Catholic Salutary Forum, it just kind of more, they say it's said also, but almost intuitive like you tell anybody, this will never happen in anybody in life, no third world country, because for one thing, exponentially they're very corrupt. What they will do, they will sell their votes. When America get in a foreign policy, when they call vested interest, and get on it. More assume say you get this kind of thing between America and, or what just happen between France and the United States. People that we converse with foreign policy, they see what happen between France and the United States. And what and the United States not even do France, now they go, now they come back and raise the white flag, now they surrender. United States don't even look there. Now they deploy the ambassador, and they not bring them back. So meaning that United States stand on the threshold of that exceptionalism where now in there, now they get for dictates anyhow we look at. So unfortunately, Mr. Bio, if foreign minister don't tell him properly, say no, that if na me, I don't fuck with that the speech. Because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There is no way United States will see itself sitting there corrupt third world leaders then for them to sit down at the security council. But what for them to get a veto? Because we hear the talk of veto. But the greediness by the African leaders is so much. He even talks to them and give them 2 seats. So that will happen. At this time, if you want to really contribute to this discussion, then finally, before I go, waiting Mrs. Biodu now that all day, it's totally unacceptable. It's very undiplomatic. You know, would go hold your phone here and that inside that kind of a meeting. You cannot do that. Perhaps the only reason why they're not challenging her because of the wife of the leader of the delegation. Now, it had been the only spouse where did it. If the other woman already did either the foreign ministers or an ambassador we accredited to the United Nations that week. But here at in husband allowed the guy to sit, but we sit on the way to the we're very undiplomatic to begin the video or holding phone out there. Assuming if you want out in corner Iman in speech, all you need for you tell the ambassador and we get an accredited ambassador of the United Nations. Or tell if the foreign minister say we'll tell the ambassador, let him make sure so get that video. It's not the whole phone that it was very disgraceful. Totally undiplomatic, and we will hopefully let it not be anyone. Back to you guys.
Well, I agree with him, Mr. Kubu say, Madam Fadima, you want to make your small contribution?
To go first with what Kutubu say, we honorary professors there. There's nothing wrong to have ambition. We can have ambition because one feel equal, but we get for earn them. And if we're not able to earn them, these people put money and invest their livelihood and country where they don't build, they get a United Nations. Not to America no more get United Nations. It was built, 60 years ago for peace and make sure say big one, not bully small one, not bully big one. The world they at peace, they're not to way bomb for themselves and scatter the one whole world. Then they look out for one another, big brother, small brother thing. But if me say I want for be equal like me boss, I get for perform or outperform. Because if I'm not performing, I cannot get a seat with the big bosses. Clean you us first, take care of the little thing that when they will make them recognize you, then maybe they will consider. Because and as much as we're waiting to call that, this is how it's going to be for a while. There can be change later on. It can change. It not going to be so for whatever, but it can change. But do I see it anytime soon in the horizon? The way when we African leader then they behave? President Bio talk of many things that we don't do inside this sphere. So when you check them in, one of the things that he said, they pay money regularly from this coronavirus. We see teachers. We see people out there, they're not get salary, they're not get paid. People are complaining they're not getting paid. But yet he said he wants quality education, free quality education. The picking them, where they been promised where they begin in the manifesto, and he took them many times, say he go give school uniform, he go give books, he go give lunch, he go give this, he took all the list, it's fine. But then when you come for do the thing, then you not even come out back to the people and say, hey, listen, I'm not saying we don't promotion of this, but the thing tight. But yet we have a big government. He said he can cut down, he got for block them, all them, who side west day. But yet what we see is big government spending, President Bio everything in the travel. We all know down there, and according to Chairman of the bar don't accuse, they don't come out with evidence and say, this is the money they're spending. That's waste and abuse. Because if you want to get a thing, you better clean your yard. And we have dirty force. We country broken force. We can't get bokuting them for clean force. We therefore get civil rights. People are therefore able to express themselves if they're not satisfied. Respectfully with the government, peacefully with the government, it is their right. Yes, they don't pull the libel law. Yes, they don't pull the death penalty. But it don't even look like it a function, because we see people and they try for say and be satisfied. I want the government hearing from what is a demonstration. What is you demonstrate for? I want the government hearing me own before I get with her. I want the government hearing me own problem where I get with her, me own dissatisfaction. So if you cannot hear me, I am not allowed to come out and say da 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 da. But yet you want to go sit in the Security Council. Do you think they're going to take you serious? No, they're not. We see the president of Ghana, the president, with the vice president of the United States. They notice their work. They invite them to the White House. We're not saying Ghana is perfect, but we see that they strive towards certain betterness and change. We have to grow. You know, because like people can say, some people can say, you stuck on history. Why are you going back to history? The salon where we know, the salon where me grow up in, and I compare it to the salon now, and I compare the quality of life of the people, it is not the waiting concept. We will see. President Bio don't have to go everywhere. When President Bio goes, Mrs. Fatima Bio goes, Antoine goes, they all get prepared. It looks like these people are coming to look for their retirement fund with salon couple. That's what I see. You know, the people are suffering, things are hard. People at the top, even to the pepper, what with the grown of it all. When they come on a Kabbalah, when they get pepper, when they come on a Kabbalah, when they get boots, when they come on Bulo, when they get vegetable, when they come on Leicester, then Gloucester, Leicester, then they come, we will get abundance. But everything faded away. War come, bad governance, everything. We're trying to rebuild here. We get to cut down on waste. We get to cut down on big government. We're just giving people position because they are associates and family and friends. We're giving them position. Who are suffering? The poor people. The standard of life, the quality of life is, oh my God. I have never seen poverty like this in me years of Sierra Leone. Why don't live on this earth inside Sierra Leone? That was not the Sierra Leone I left when I left in 1985. Not that Sierra Leone I left Mazalon. You know, so like the other people, the chance force, I will come back to other thing then. Because we get for talk on this money business here, so for them school picking, but I will come back. I'll pass and to enough.
Thank you, Madam Fatima. Mr. Shilon, we can hear you on view, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Well, basically, most of what I want to say don't cover by Professor Kutubu and Ms. Fadima, but there is always something else to be said. To start with, make we get an understanding that I do have one or two areas in which I give President Bio high marks. High marks in the sense that I am, as a lawyer, I'm very much impressed with the fact that the libel law was brought to an end under a regime. And that libel law is a very giant step forward for Sierra Leone in the sense that that was a law that was being misused to oppress free speech in Sierra Leone. And that has been in existence, it had been in existence since 1965, instituted by Sir Albert Magai. Now, the reason why I give President Bio credit in that respect is the sense that I think around that time, when that law did go into effect, taking into account all the great lawyers and other people and people who precede President Bio as head of state, every president that we know of used that law day or that statute day for oppress and jail. In fact, it was criminal. They were locking up people under that statute day. So we have to be able to give President Bio a lot of credit for having the courage to dispose of that law day. Number two, I've always been opposed to capital punishment because I think it's inhumane. You know, it's uncivilized, it's barbaric, you know, and the procedure in after people are killed to be buried in pauper cemetery without participation of the people and body is just outright gross. So for whatever reason, that President Bio and governments and through the help of Parliament decide to abolish that. That also, I give him high marks because that's the kind of legislations the way advanced countries in the past, you know. So under the president, I give him a lot of credit on that. But other than that, I think President Bio still has not come to realize that the country needs all the economic growth it can get. You know, exchange rate is getting worse. You know, it's almost 11,000, if not more, leones to $1. Nothing is being done to combat that. Unemployment is rampant. Prices are skyrocketing. To me, these are the kind of things the president should be trying to deal with. So when we talk about free education, that is such a broad thing that we can always, you can say education is free to what extent we don't know. But my thing with the president is, my beef with the president, if we can take things step at a time. You talk about internet, you talk about right to work, but when you begin using the phrase in there about right to work, you better start trying to align yourself with international standard of workers. That is, we don't have minimum wage policy in Australia. You know, the average worker, I think, makes about $50 a month, a whole month. No, in fact, now it's not even enough to buy a bag of rice. So, to me, good governance calls for a president or a government that takes into account the standard of living of the people, you know, and this is across the board. This is not a criticism of President Bio alone. It's the same thing that the previous government used to do. The problem is sometimes when you raise them point here, you get certain people who will say, but the other government be the do them. But now the reason they make you pull the other government, because this government say, we're not going to do that, we're going to do better. So you don't come, and then some people, even somebody said to me the other day, oh, they talk about tribalism, somebody said, well, in Skorwa, we get 45% of people from the north and this kind of. So what's wrong if President Bio get twice that? So I think people don't get it. You become president for the country, not for a particular segment or section or area of the country. So you have to get everybody under our wings. As the head of state, you look out for everybody. Everybody is your people. It's not a way some people can say, hey, you're not helping people then. But who is the president's people? The president's people, and we're all Australians. So until we begin to look at the responsibility that goes with governance or with governing, until we begin to look at it holistically, it's going to be, because you have to understand what you're doing to be able to be a effective and good government. But if you think, say, well, I'm a president, but I'm not a president for all the people, I'm a president for one district or one province or some district or so, you're missing the point, you know? So once we get the basics, and I think Australian problem, all this talk about internet, about technology, they will come about when the foundation, the proper foundation is laid. This is a million thing down there. I keep saying, just do the basic things. Just like I always say, there is a book that says everything I need to know in life I learned in kindergarten. Let us just do the basic things. Everything else will follow. Because the basics are the foundation that we need to grow. You know, but if we try for begin talk, all this big talk, and with respect to the seats in the United, in the Security Council, well, I don't want to think President Bio didn't know that that's just hyperbolic kind of talk, because that's not going to happen as Professor Kutubu said, because if you want to get in the big league, you have to show competence that you are good enough or you excel in the minor league. But you can't be talking about, I compare Australian or Africa trying to get a permanent seat in the Security Council to that of a guy who plays in the elementary school soccer team, and he thinks he's so good, he say he want to play for the country. This is the gap between like America and like any country in Africa for right now. Let we improve the economy first. When we improve the economy, when we begin to take care of people, when we begin to take care of the economy in such a way, give currencies the effect so they can be used internationally, then we can begin to talk about all the lofty things there. And we have, because we don't operate by ourselves. The world looks at us. So when we get ECOWAS, we get the African Union, they may think nobody's watching them, but people do. That's the reason why, even as we speak, we find some of the action and the reaction of some of the African leaders here asking the new leader in Guinea for return power because it violates what they have done, then violates the charter of ECOWAS. But these same leaders, when Alpha Conde decide for scrap the constitution and extend it to third term, which definitely will have led to lifetime, they didn't say anything. When Museveni has been in power 30 years after he overthrew Idi Amin, and they get the audacity for even make the man chairman, to me, a shamelessness nowadays. Because this guy should be shamed. People like Museveni should not be even given. So it's an insult to the intelligence of the rest of Africans. And the audacity for African leaders then for go to this new leader in Guinea and say, oh, we'll not support this kind of thing. We'll go take, we'll go penalize you now for what you're gonna do. And we are joking, we're not serious. Because if we're serious, there should be, you get to do with cause and effect. There will never be any coup. In fact, coup, they put a country backwards. So anybody who understand anything about governance, you don't want coup to take place. You don't want it because it's not a good thing. But to prevent it, you got to do right. If we'll get a rule of engagement, that rule of engagement in the Constitution. If it says 2 terms, 2 terms. Don't start twisting around and trying to encourage other people and we don't know any better for encourage you. And so people in the talks to make a be a 3rd term, you're asking for trouble. Because the only way you go extend that 3rd term day, now for become repressive, oppressive, dictatorial, and then the next thing you know, you lost control of your country. So that said, I think President Bill, he's done some good things as president. I give high marks on the capital punishment abolition, and then on the libel law. I mean, those are real giant steps. I think he will go down in history as having done something in predecessors they never did, never thought of doing, in fact, misuse. So you got to give credit where credit is due. I think he deserves high mark. In fact, he may even be in a league of his own because we don't know of any other previous president who has had the courage or the conviction of abolishing such major oppressive laws. So that said, make a stop at this point. I will talk some more on other matters.
Mr. Shillong, over to you, Editor.
Thank you very much, Madam Kadi Johnson-Cole, for the opportunity you give me for make I join this VOS program online today. And in relation to all waiting the various speakers and don't say, I just want for take a little bit of a page of wording Barrister Shillong just say before I go move on to another topic where my own bite inside the President's bill in statement at the 76th UN Summit. In relation to waiting, Barrister Shillong just talk about him appreciating and to a large extent wanting to applaud President's bill for repealing the seditious libel law, which is part 5 of the 1965 Public Order Act. I'm happy that me with the talk so now a practicing journalist with long-standing experience and in lieu of the aforementioned. But what I want to say is, let's say, he who feels it knows it, yeah? And then, so what thing they observe this SLPP-led administration they do, when they piss me off more than any other kind of thing, with all due respect to the government or the governance structure we get in the country, now the significant amount of deception where this particular government they trade on, where they give negative picture to some people that will not even know the crux of the matter, and just the give surface what should I say, impression on the premise of hogwash approach to issues, and then they tend for gain praises and accolades because of that. What do I mean by this? Let me come first to the deception in the area of the repeal of the 1965 Public Order Act, right? As a practicing journalist myself, I was very happy initially when the Part 5 of the 1965 Public Order Act was repealed, that which is the seditious libel law. More especially when in 2009, they had one organization where they call the Journalists for Attitudinal and Behavioral Change. And we organization begets issue with SLAG because by then, Umaru Fofana be the president of SLAG. Umaru Fofana, among in team, began for come up with a position for say, then go give the Eastwhile administration media blackout, and also the office of the vice president, where they began for beat some journalism at the vice president's office in 2009. So because of that, they be said and they walk towards the repeal of the 1965 Public Order Act. However, we own organization be of the premise that it should not be a repeal of the 1965 Public Order Act, because repealing it and leaving it open-ended and not having a clause we go try for regulate the professional conduct of journalists, it will be fruitless. So we are in for amendment, not repeal, right? Okay, be it as it's amendment or repeal. Now we're happy this government don't repeal completely Part 5 of the 1965 Public Order Act, where be the criminalized speech and opinion. But what I mean by deception in this particular act or approach of repealing the Part 5 here, now the fact that they don't replace her now with the cybercrime law. And apart from replacing it with the cybercrime law, they also don't give significant amount of powers to the Independent Media Commission. To a large extent, the 1965 Public Order Act Part 5, where they pull come out, they don't put her now into the Independent Media Commission, the Code of Ethics, and give them excessive power, where as we speak, they suppress the media. By that again, they also don't make a lot of media houses that don't go out of broadcast and publication because of the benchmarks and ceiling where they place for ensure say they strangle the press, they strangle freedom of speech and opinion. And just like how they challenge to a little extent, waiting Barrister Shillon just say so by applauding President Bio for repealing the 1965 Public Order Act Part 5, just as I say, if now they don't come up with this cybercrime law, where now something where even worse than the 1965 Public Order Act Part 5, the seditious libel law, where they repeal so. That is to say, they don't give excessive power now to the Minister of Information and Communication for ensure say they apportion penalties for defaulters, right? We get for do with free speech again, as the case may be. And inside the 1965 Public Order Act, it was 3 million leones if you are found wanting for such kind crime and where you go pay, right? Now IMC or waiting. But now they don't put up to 5 million leones. And now the minister, they determine the portion of punishment, whether for give somebody if you go against still. And as I'm talking to you, one young man, they presently in a Pademba Road from Bo, where they suffer because of waiting, it juxtaposed the achievement of former President Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma in relation to the stadium where they built na the Bo Kenema Highway. Because of that, he was apprehended, arrested, and is now in Panama Road prison. Another young man again will come out na Kenema Day and condemn President Bio and the First Lady because of the way and manner in which they behave. This young man, who was also a strong member of the SLPP, was apprehended and now is languishing in Panama Road prison. So what are we talking about? Repealing the Part 5 with one hand and using the other hand to suppress people again and free peace. So to me, I see it as ridiculous, to say the least. And also again, make I just left this clause where I don't have to analyze, so I'm not going to say, as a journalist, we are not comfortable even repealing the Part 5, then bringing the cybercrime law where they affect people. In as much as me no say, they want to use that cybercrime law there on the premise of witch hunting. What do I mean by this? Could you imagine, I even don't listen to the government on one or two occasions in television encounters on media analysis and audios them as well. How on earth we go down get the enactment of the cybercrime law? Then you get members of the SLPP within the bloggers wing and the publicity wing, the likes of one what they call General Kaloko, the other one they call Memuna Repeal, and even Mustafa Bai Attila. Then they attack people them, use malicious and seditious libel statements them, but just because they are their blue-eye boys and girls, they are let go. Quite recently, could you imagine General Kaloko go on here with him right up and waiting, say, former President Koroma, then they plan war for come to this country. They don't go train rebel them like Guinea for bringing them kind, and also again, Leather Boots and others, they don't train them like Guinea for me them can bring war. So what am I trying to say? If the cybercrime law, where they don't enact for all water, if I begin to take effect in that, because this is all about cybercrime reckless statements. But just because these statements are being made by their own bloggers, their blue-eye boys and girls, they are let go. So what am I trying to say? How can we have a government operating with two phases? It is not done, right? So just like I was saying, we wouldn't have the gunner, we know exactly what's in the happen and how we they feel the pinch. Then they give impression to the international community, just like waiting President Bio talk. Most of what he puts inside in speech we go at the 76th summit of the UN summit. It's not true. It's not true at all. Not to talk about the improvement of the internet facility where they talk about so. Especially the one the way they use the mobile companies for ethical standards sake. I'm not going to call the mobile company names, but the fact remains, the 3 or 4 mobile companies them who gets in this country are not doing us or neither not helping the telecommunication in internet facility service in this country at all. Yeah. And so if in they say we don't improve on internet, ICT communication and what have you, these are all, what should I say, euphemistic untrue statements, because the Christian of for tell big man say they lie. But all of what he says in his statement are untrue. Now, make I just come to one particular side before the end may own take and allow other people to forget their own contribution as well. As a journalist, an investigative journalist, we don't monitor the implementation of the free quality education, quote and unquote quality, of which there is no quality in it. Okay, the free education. How on earth President Bio in his statement na Bintumani conference, right, where we get the Africa Young Voices AYV presidential debate. In that particular statement, President Bio stated categorically clear that pupils are being dropped out of school because of lack of uniforms, because of lack of bags, and also lack of tuition fee and feeding, among others. And all waiting are also tuition fee, uniform, bags, and feeding are in the SLPP 2017 and 2018 manifesto campaign promises. But as we speak, only the tuition fee has been implemented as part of the free education package. So what a deception. Now, if they tell people that in the United Nations say in government they give bags or uniform or whatever as the case may be, it is not visible, it is not practical, it is not applicable. So much of what President Bio say in his speech is not in tandem with the reality on the ground. And now, if you're talking about parent burden in sending their children to school, one or two of the other issues that they face present now, the fact that parents that only complain, say, school authorities, they ask for money, extort money from them because of admission fee and all of this other thing, right? I don't charge the Anti-Corruption Commission for say, why is it that Anti-Corruption Commission, they go after teachers them, arrest them on the Scorpion sting operation approach because of waiting examination malpractices, which is very, very good because you want quality education. But if we get school authorities right now, where they extort money from parents them, 500,000, 1 million and above for sick admission, and apart from that, again, the Anti-Corruption Commission seems for do anything in that light for send plainclothes officers them na there registration all them day for able to get the fact say yes. People then they pay money for admits and picking them. We're not supposed to be the kind of free education where they enjoy on that. Apart from the service charges them where the school then gets. So all of this put into context, it seems as if much of what the president talked at the UN summit is not reflective of the reality on the ground. And if the government they pay 75,000 leones for school fee, okay, good, well and good for tuition, but that parents get the responsibility for so uniform for him picking, get the responsibility for buy bag, get the responsibility for buy vest, for buy socks, for buy shoe, and also provide lunch and transportation for in Peking is far, far way outweigh the 75,000 tuition fee where the government they pay. And it is ridiculous because what's in it for the government say the free quality education may be that the flagship project. Why is this that the resources where they come out from the consolidated fund where they go into the coffers day and international donor support again, not they be used for ensure say then give part of the package where they put in the manifesto that's being uniform or bags and sufficient food as the case may be, so that we go to say yes, we are enjoying free quality education here. So in my estimation, it seems as if the government has to do more. So make a rest me case for now and allow others them for contribute. But my own bone of contention is it seems as if there is a lot of deception in the administrative pattern of this current administration.
Yeah. Madam Kadi, if I can add to it, Mr. Temple.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, I can add to it because I experienced that in Freetown, right, just this recently with the quality education when they talk. Yes, it say the number increase begin they want go school. But then once they begin for go school, they go register, they drop out because they have to buy uniforms, like you say, and then other hidden figure. When you go to their school and it happened to me, you know, why quite recently, there was a little girl. My sister meet them somewhere, whatever. I say, why are you not going to school? And as a matter of fact, it was 2 of them in Alunge. He said, then granny not able to buy uniform, not able to buy book, not able to buy that. I had 2 of my friends where my sister talked to. Once they talk to this, talk to this. They sent, it was $50 each they sent. Each person sent $50. They go sew uniform. They go sew buy, you know, they have a book, buy 1 shoes, buy, you know, 2 uniforms, so something and so the Peking go school. Because a lot of those things, because if you therefore spend 500,000 for buy school supply for primary school, because you got dynamic secondary, because you get them book the way you get for buy. Or how many comrades are able to afford this? They cannot afford it. Yeah. They're not able to afford that. That's why I say the poverty level of Sierra Leone, not so we've been there. The middle class don't vanish. Nothing is there no more. And this government, I mean, you know, like when they say, then they feel say you're not like them. No. But you see them, they flaunting wealth, they flaunting all this lavish lifestyle. And then it's like, to me, our science, it's like they don't care about the people. It's just like, then disregarding the feelings of the people. When they go get a few people, then give them small thing, then put on a TV for make it look good. But the majority of the people are suffering. They don't have the program, they don't get, so they begin and they drop school. They get for give lunch money, they get for give this, the teacher then gets their own, they said, because they know they pay them, then they demand from the school picking them. And the Combra then they go fend, some Combra go sell in last slapper in Alpha Fana markets where they get for making picking, one and picking come up at that life where in the palais go school. And this is the reality, just like Mr. Temple said, the reality on the ground, not much, which waiting President Bill tell the world. It is not much at all, not much. Because, you know, not much. We get for do more, we get for do better. Because the people are suffering. And the people, the livelihood of the people, the basic necessities of life, it's a struggle daily for letting get up. Everything is going up. Yes, everything is going up in the world because of pandemic. Prices are high. But guess what? They have jobs. Other side them. The governments, they subsidize. This. We see we government, then give corona money, they go buy vehicle there. You know, instead of put her into the medical system for backup, because they talk of sustainable medical thing, the way they do and change is something. You talk about the medical, is saving lives and all that kind of thing. For a fuel not day, na cottage hospital, a child, a mother has to cry for him picking because somebody that they put in charge, somebody decided for puts the money or look the other way, look at it like that. You're picking a life not valuable, now then you're picking no more. Somebody made that decision that they don't get gas, when they get for do surgery, when they get for do, people are dying, premature death, people are dying, but you talk about the medical system, we see, and I mean, we come on now. You know, we're not. I'm the person Madam Kadi. But this is reality. We get for OPVI, we get for C, and we get for column like it is. President Bill need for do more. He need for do better. He need for step up. He need for take. You know, he need for step up. He get 2 more years. He can change something. Then they say when I get called them, he can change some things. Then he can do that.
Thank you, Madam Fadima. Anyone else at the panel we want for adding voice to within Madam Fadima and Temple at the tire, don't say.
I will hold
me. When I get anything else, when I want to add.
I go with all my comments until the callers or they say what you need.
Well, okay. So then we can go. If we can go, we can try to see if we get callers and everyone coming.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, they do. We do.
Yeah. Okay. Technical thing.
Yeah, go say caller. Good evening.
Callers, when I come and when I ring, when I ring the lawyer, when I views.
No, you got to invite the caller. Good evening. What's your name and who side they call you from? Hello, caller. Good evening. What's your name and who side they call you from, please? Hello, caller. Good evening. Okay, what's going on here?
Okay, if anyone want to come in, when I can come in and say, when I make a contribution. Mr. Shilon, you want to come in? Or
I just get a few comments with respect to within we honorable journalists say. I agree with them in all respect, because the whole essence of, again, I can say, sometimes these guys, and then the misfortune and the Israelis, they suffer from. We now get people then we're serious. And I use the simple word serious for one government. Then see government as a means to an end.
Mr. Shilon, 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Yes.
You go on down, let me get chance to 2 callers them, or
now I can withhold my thoughts, let me talk to the callers then.
Yeah, fine. So don't forget to mark and what you want to say. Yes, so caller, good evening. What you want to say?
Hello, good evening. This is Malan Sanasako from Pennsylvania.
Sanasako, welcome.
Hi, Mr. Sanko.
Thank you. Hello, how are you, everybody? I want to address the issue with able and wonderful journalist, Mr. Temple. But in addressing that, I want to be very honest with Mr. Temple. I think Mr. Temple it come out to me as very biased in his submission, and that does not mean that in some of the things the way he said wrong, especially when it comes to the 1965 Part 5 Sedition Libel Law, and you compare them, say because the president repealed that one day or take them out, but he replaced them with the cyber law, as if not something very dangerous way the president do, and he do them willfully for let it calling the journalists or other people them find another way for muscle journalists. I think that was very unfair of you for make you do that, because you did at the first Western world or somewhere else, and you're highly, very articulated. You're very articulate and a very brilliant man for make you see the importance of libel law. I mean, for make you see the importance of a cyber law. Now, even in the United States of America and England, all the Western countries, they have cyber laws. Cyber law is very dangerous. It go cause suicide, people they go kill themselves, ordinary citizens go kill themselves. We have a case in Trenton, in Princeton University, where somebody, a gay guy, killed himself because somebody used the media for publish this policy as in a gay. And what he do, they go to New Jersey, he hang himself, he kill himself. We have 13 years old, 14 years old girls them, where somebody they turned on social media, they scatter their name, they lie, and then they say, then don't do this, then a prostitute like this, then go kill themselves. So cyberbullying there. And for let you say this, to me, it appears as if the president not even supposed for let them put cyber law in place just because they don't say, or you disagree, say, or you define the way for make the president look like, say, he not do anything beneficial in changing that law. He may not be perfect in that way, but this cyber law is in place. How many people don't die in Sierra Leone using cyber? Look, we let Fortimapu come, we blame by Chroma for where people go die na Bo or any other place, suicide not in territory. The other opposition go let to do that. But then if we put a law for let it stop that one day, we can again and we turn time for that one day again and tell us again by Chroma don't muscle people again, you don't violate other people again, you don't become a dictator again. How many people don't die using this social media? Now we just say Tombo, put local, and many other places like McKinney, the 7 youths that way die. We go like for call my mother bio in name because na in government. And if by Chroma says we go call by Chroma in name because na in government. But sometimes it's very, very unfair for law we minimize something as very powerful and necessary in a country just because we want to score political points or the waiting with the practice because with the feel say we not get latitude. I think that was very disingenuous, my dear brother. Not to say that what you they say in other areas are not true, but I disagree with you 1000% with the libel law. Every civilized nation has a libel law. If you go just now inside cinema hall, you have a fire. People they run then die. Now waiting one day. Now that's a dictatorship. If they hold you, they put you in a jail and lock you up for which say you don't commit, you don't make people and don't die inside a place. No. So I disagree with you, my dear brother. That's my submission.
Thank you. Hold on here. You'll get for response to them. Let me just give this second caller in your own chance for 70 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, caller, waiting at your name.
How are you guys? How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty
Thank
good.
God
This is Abdul, they call from Australia.
Caller, what's your name?
Abdul.
Abdul from Australia.
Abdul, I call from Australia.
Yeah.
Abdul from Australia. Abdul, go on. Let me listen to this you get for tell me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Me, I congratulate this my with President'sMaada bill. The level at which you don't put that country there, I really congratulate according to your speech. For say you don't develop the health system in that country there, the educational system, all those things, good those to him. It look like say white man get for good send them picking and as for Kulat. We get for go to receive them there now. That man, it too lie. People in the dying at that government hospital. Even me, so my cousin recently he go die there. Now because they hit him, then get and go to hospital. They know they even look him because you not get money. Look, the people that already struggle for their own picking. For girl can go to school. It's a free quality education. And again, mind for going up now the world, it begin to talk about it. With all what they go on in that country, the people in the suffer, in get bold mind. You know, see, now in country, the self, so the Chinese in character. Because people they know exactly what they go on. They need to go China, they lie. The nation not get for forgive that man. If you do good thing, inshallah, God go pay him that good thing. And if you do bad again, you get for reflector. Now you get the power. Make good talk whatever he wants. Not so then can talk there and say me one can include. I swear to God. Just because it come, it hurts me. So now I make a call and talk a little bit. The main purpose for call, Miss Farima, you remember 2 weeks ago, or that was last week or 2 weeks, we did talk about developments in that country, how the diaspora then get for come together and develop that country. I then can't think that they can let for involved, not to the politician there. I just want to make try update with how far you don't go for spread this message. Thank you so much.
We get we get so many calls that we can't try for control now. You see, so if we can able to give the other people a chance for talk, yeah. Thank you so much. You can try
I will respond to her later. Yeah.
Yes, Madam Farima will respond to you later. Let me give more people a chance for talk. But you can call back again. Yeah, caller.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Caller number 3. Yes. The next caller, what's your name? Hello, caller.
Hi, this is not Anonymous. Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Anonymous.
Anonymous caller. You are welcome.
You all look good. Me your input na that the president nor really they do well in me on estimation. When they talk about the free quality education, of course it's free for him and his household, because at the end of the day, then they get the free money from the government, and they pick in and they get quality education, and then get free transportation and all that. So in family and the parliamentarians, where they in support of Union Revolution, they are all benefiting from this free quality education, because they can actually afford to send those kids to good private schools and all. But the poor Sierra Leoneans, they suffer. The poor Mami them, then they suffer. And it's just not fair for him for say people and they save more than $500 per child. You know, and not even per household, per child. Of course, they are saving more than that, because other than him becoming a president, you know, for be able for sending picking them at the quality schools them where he able for send them into right now. So he is a perfect beneficiary of this program. And it just they lie to the ordinary Sierra Leoneans, trying to make it look like it's okay. And then you get other supporters them of the young cabal where they talk for say, people and they comrade and the way they send them picking them at school with 25,000 leones every day. Who in Sierra Leone go look in Pekin where they, even if you did from 5, we go pull 25,000 leone every day and give you say go school. How much not bread? Bread not 2,000. If they go they eat lunch from school, maybe minimum 10,000. You know, but the lies are just too much. Every angle, the lies are too much. This is not about the SLPP, APC fight. It's just about what the common Sierra Leonean needs. So please, Una, do better for us. Please, we're begging you guys. Exactly. And First Lady, do you beg, change your attire, dress well for we. You know they dress well. Every day you read receipts and you don't show it for say you not the man at the house. We believe you. Yes, you not the man at the house. We believe you, but dress better. Get rid of those pants and then put back close the way they were. They are big for we. I love you all. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, caller. Caller, next caller. Which is your name? Who's the call from?
Yeah, this is Mr. Kamari call from Holland. Yeah, I want to tell we panelists them plenty thank you. More especially Mr. Temple, one of my favorite followers. Honestly speaking, when you know that at the ground, you will not understand what people they feel. You know, the people the way they jump and jubilate in a social media, they're not in a salon. 80 to 90% for them not inside salon. Then they oversee. If they think say salon good, let them go there and stay in Sierra Leone. But look how the prices then they go up. Look at the cost for one bag cement. It's 120,000, 110,000 as the case may be. We not get one price control. And remember, the president in campaign promises them. He say they come for make changes. They come for make one. But honestly speaking, all the changes they see this government they make, now theories them, now policies them. And I can tell you, anybody can sit down and make policy. Anybody can sit down and write theory. Yeah. But when you go now, the ground, it's different. That's why even when you go to university in this part of the world, then they give you opportunity for go do practicum. Let you see if the theories and the reality when they happen at the ground, now the same thing. Sometimes you see variance in practical and theory, and that's what is happening in Sierra Leone. Yeah, there is a great variance. How a whole president could go say in a country, parents and they say $500 a year per child. So it means if you get 4 pikin, they save $2,000 every year. Can you imagine that? Then calculate that one day to the amount of money they would not save in the country. But people they go to bed hungry, price they go up, price go up, transports they go up. It really pathetic. But everything when they talk about human capital development, it's all on papers. It's just on theories. In practical, it's not happening. I get a lot of friends within a university on a salon day. If they tell you what they go on at the university, you go bet your finger. We claim they say we get quality education, we get free education. Oh my goodness. You know, sometimes if we're not honest to ourselves, God will be accountable. People are not afraid to say the whole country, not afraid to say somebody they above the country in abroad. So if we talk safe on social media or we talk on international media, then be honest to ourselves. People they die every day in Sierra Leone. Look at the rate of malaria they keep picking them. Then we sit down in media where they say, oh, salon they go be true, salon they this, salon they that. You know, let God help you all, and let God continue to make changes in the country for a better Sierra Leone. God bless all, man.
Thank you, caller. The next caller, listen to your name, who's the call from? Let me wait now, make we give people the log, give the panelists a chance to respond to waiting some of the people they don't say. But let me start with Mr. Shillon, because Mr. Shillon been there for say something before we start taking the call. Mr. Shillon, you go and finish what you want to say, and then if you get it, you want to add to within the callers and say, then that's fine.
Yeah, correct. I basically was just in agreement with Mr. Temple to the extent that he say the law, the cyber law, in technical terms, or maybe in practical terms, they'll replace the seditious, the libel law that was abolished. I was speaking strictly in terms of the abolition of it. But now, the libel law, the cyber law, where they implement or where they pass, a lot of us were opposed to it in this sense, that it was not well discussed with the general body of people abroad and back home to make we understand what in Sierra Leone's perception is a cyber law, because cyber law is very wide, it's very involved.
Yeah, exactly.
It's mostly electronically involved type of crimes. You know, now I'm not saying there is no cyber law crimes taking place in Sierra Leone, but I don't know whether such a law was a priority at the time they passed and the urgency. What I didn't like about the cyber law itself was because I think when we began the Minister of Information. Yes, and he was a very impressive young man. In fact, in my personal assessment, so far, only two ministers I give high marks in the government of President Bio, that Minister of Information there, and the Minister of Lands. The rest, I mean, I don't know. But, and the reason why I give them high marks is the fact that, I agree with them or not, they will come on social media and talk. They will meet with people. They will discuss issues. They are not hiding behind the power of the offices, you know, because if you are educated and you know what you're doing, you shouldn't feel restrained for confront the press and be open to questioning. But the cyber law, to me, if they use them as a retaliatory means for go after journalists, well, that's putting the country backward. This is the thing about legislations. We will pass laws that are progressive. Exactly. That, you know, laws that are good for the people, for the country. So if you implement as in practical terms all the bad application of the libel laws by the cyber laws, that's terrible. I don't think they should be doing that. And now some of the instances where Mr. Temple point out, if these instances are true, we all should be appalled because about that, because it does no good for anybody. Because but the thing I also raised, young lawyers need, I'm saying young lawyers because the older guys can't do much more anymore. But young lawyers, that's why we have a constitution. That by now we should be able to have a group of lawyers who are gradually specializing in land law, you know, in law of the press, and be able to challenge their laws there under the Constitution of Sierra Leone. Because Sierra Leone, as it is now, lawyers don't do much constitutional practice at all. But that's the protection. Some of these laws were, like the libel laws, if somebody is arrested because they oppose or they express an opposition or they express a contrary view to which the minister no like. Now, I think by now, the journalists, the ultimately would suggest, put funds them together, get young, bright lawyers then, which we have plenty of in Sierra Leone, to start challenging these laws constitutionally. And then start from even the jurisdiction of the court, whether a magistrate court can deal with constitutional issues. So unless lawyers are willing to get into the brawl, and the only way the lawyers might be able to get into it, the journalists should be able to come together and say, you know what? I mean, we wish things would have been better, but we don't. We have to fight with what we have. The Constitution is there, and lawyers are ignoring the Constitution. Issues are not being raised. Constitutional rights are being violated. And we all don't throw in the towel and say, oh, the courts, they think that this. Give the court something to do. Bombard them with lawsuits. I'm telling you, the young lawyers, I mean, things will change. The pressure will become too much to bear, you know? But if we all just throw in the towel and say this and say that, you know, first of all, in modern day democracy, the press is a vital arm of government. You know, some will argue that they are in fact a fourth branch of government, that's the press. Now, this thing about the media commission, again, I don't know how it was set up, but I remember when the minister became and we show, and he agreed with me. If you go back and review the tape, he himself said that was too much power being given to a minister. He said that himself. He said he not believes in any one person, because how can you make a minister, a judge, because he becomes the accuser, the prosecutor, and the judge. He's playing all kind of role. I mean, which is so ridiculous. In a democracy, no one person, let alone a minister of all, should be able to determine the type and level of punishment for someone he deems to be in violation of the law. But that said, what do? Challenge the law. Take it to court. I mean, there are many bright young guys there, and in fact, I feel terrible for them because talents are being wasted in Sierra Leone. If there is anything America has taught some of we, in fact, American ingenuity is based on resourcefulness. Look at the law the way it is and find a way. It's just like if someone bigger than you attacks you and you don't get the physical strength, but you get a little pin or razor or something, you got to figure out how you for defend yourself with that little thing the way you get. So as things are now, the Constitution exists. It's an instrument that should be used, but it's not being used. It's being left alone by itself. And I will urge journalists and young lawyers for take advantage of the Constitution. They will not forget to say we'll get a constitutional democracy, which is another mistake people make. We do not have a parliamentary democracy anymore. Now, the Constitution is supreme. The parliament does not have the authority or the power to infringe the Constitution. Parliament, if they make laws where abridge the Constitution, it can be challenged. The court can make decision and overrule Parliament, and then that law becomes the law, not what Parliament said. That law can be nullified. We need to understand that difference there. Not to the old time mode and say Parliament is supreme. No, the Constitution is supreme. So if young lawyers then, and if the journalists then will be tactical in their approach and their way of fighting, I think improvement will come in a way from unintended areas that we don't even know we can get good results from, because they are courageous judges. We recently see where a judge cites and the director and the Ministry of Lands and sent a warrant of arrest for let them arrest them because comply with I think a court order to come to court.
Order, you're right.
But this is not common. But you see, when a judge they do it encourages another judge to take to do it. But the judge didn't do it on its own. It's because some lawyer had the courage to take the matter to court, because judge can't bring the matter to court. Now somebody gave to bring the matter before him. So I'm urging the young lawyers and one of the journalists, Mr. Temple, when I need for putting a resource, there is strength in number. So when I put on resources, if not and dues or something, or when I go to pay, get a retained set of counsel, we're going to develop expertise in this kind of law. Things will be better for everybody.
Mr.
Mr. Editor Temple get to say, because it will get to respond to Lasona Sako. We making point directly to
thank you very much, Madam Kadi. And also, I want to tell Mr. Lansana Sanko, thank you for a point where he raised. And there is no hard feelings in relation to what he say about my submission. But make I just try for make them very simple in the simplest terms, so Mr. Sanko will be able to understand what I mean, yeah? Mr. Sanko, I am not against the enactment of a cyber crime law, because just like how you say, it in other countries them, right? And also again, I'm not against the government per se in wanting to bring up issues them, right? We're going to make this country go before. My problem, like how I explained to you now, on the premise of selective justice, now they talk about. And also again, mind you, you say cybercrime laws them there in America, Canada, or England, and other countries, and which is true, yeah? But the clause them, or the clauses that we go inside the cybercrime law in America, it go varies from that of England and Canada, as the case may be. So also Sierra Leone, yeah? But the issue when we get with we own Sierra Leone context of the cybercrime law, I think say Barrister Shillon reason with me and he listen carefully what you say, then he take a lead from what I say. And also again, one lady we called just now again, instead of trying to talk about the issue of some Sierra Leoneans them being comfortable with what they happen, even though it is wrong, just because of political affiliations or what have you, as the case may be. Okay, make an answer, Mr. Lansana, again. Mr. Lansana, my issue where I say is this here. I say the current cybercrime law where they pass, where they use technically for replace the 1965 Public Order Act, Part 5, where they repeal. Now, on the premise of the selective justice under which then they use for implementing presently, I make reference to you say, one Sierra Leonean, where they reside in the southern province, go na the Bo Kenema Highway Stadium, built by the past administration, and juxtapose them to the current administration, then failure for do such a kind of thing, and try for praise the past president and waiting. He was arrested, as I'm talking to you, he's in Pademba Road prison, right? I make reference to you again about a member of the SLPP, where see and say things how they go on fine with him and company like Kenema, and go now one barrier area where they can call one attire base na Kenema day, and go expressing disenchantment with a megaphone. To a large extent, they say he insults the First Lady and the President, as I'm talking to you, is in Pademba Road prison, right? Okay, now it is good, you go say, if somebody go against or do something for do with cybercrime law, make the law all and responsible. Okay, the law they all learn two people then they, yeah. What about then Soldier Man then now when at the presidential guard within a president's lodge, we come out with a video and tell people then say, then go kill people them, then go kill Cholombo people them, then go brush them and waiting. When a cybercrime related issue then they, and then take the video where then do that threatening Max Lipan and post on the social media. From where the military said an investigator matter, the up to now we don't know nothing about that. Then waiting you go say again about the issue of selective justice in the implementation of this cybercrime bill. I make reference to you again, Mr. Lansana. I say one boy what they call General Kaloko. I want to ask Kaloko go na in your medium waking views, make an audio for say the former president they prepare for being working at this country. They don't go train rebel in Guinea for can fetch na salon. He called leather boots and others and waiting as the case may be. Don't you think that is also a cybercrime law violation? And you talk about bullying. Don't you think that is also an act of cyberbullying as well? Shouldn't they or he be brought to book? So what am I trying to say? I don't have problem with the government coming with cybercrime because like how normal Barrister Shillon be the talk just now. Some components of cybercrime law get some portion, maybe some we can get for do it, money laundering. Yeah, we're very good for all of us. But what I'm saying is on the premise of selective justice under which this government is administering or neither implementing the cybercrime law, where me feel say it is of no use, right? Because if you don't implement the cybercrime law, then you get young social media bloggers now, where they use social media bullying against other people. There are many not going for call waiting Attila in don't say or waiting Nemuna Rappel in don't say, but they are let go. Then others and they arrest them, including one lady where they call Corporal Aisha Bangura quite recently, where they sack from the military because of them say he go open one WhatsApp group where then they share audios and they where then say get for do with government discussion and everything, then sack him for that. But when that other lady will call himself Tutu J or what have you, input audio. When a soldier woman they say in soldier uniform, then he talks something we get for doing praise with the president and the current government. She was protected. So, Mr. Lansana, don't you think this issue of selective justice in implementation of the cybercrime law or what have you, or whether or not replace some now with the 1965 Public Order Act, is nothing but a white elephant. So it is on this premise I'm talking, Mr. Lansana. I'm not against laws to regulate, because like you see, I talk initially what we talked before say, whilst Umar Fofana and Sludge with a call for the repeal of the 1965 Public Order Act, us from the journalists for attitudinal and behavioral change, where we think say positive mental attitude is a virtue, and we for change the attitude of journalists them for the blackmail people them, for the slander and maliciously attack people them, or extort money from people them because of them get the power to the pen and the mic and waiting. We want for change the attitude of journalism. So from the journalist of attitudinal and behavioral change point of view, we are calling for amendments or review of the act wherein they will bring a clause we go checkmate the performance of journalism. So, Mr. Lansana, sir, I am not against the cybercrime law. I was just opposed to the selective justice implementation of it.
Right, Ms. Kadi.
I think it is talking mute. We can't hear you.
If any of you want to add to waiting the callers and don't say.
Yeah, I just want to respond to we brought on Australia, we say development, because we all want development. And I know say a couple of weeks ago we made a talk on a call from Freetown where they talk about how they build building them because people then come together. And I was motivated and I say, we can do this. We can do this, Sierra Leoneans. We can do this. We can waiting and call and make up. So we decide, we work on them. We not get to 100% the nitty gritty stuff yet, but we work on them. We make them like a project from VOS with a social media team. Which is me and Professor Kutubu and lawyer Shillon, Mr. Shillon. So we come together and try to see how we will put her in place, because it is a very, very difficult team for do. But we get for fan the logistics, fan out for go about doing it. For let we go see how it will go out. We therefore fan expert then. We try for we reach out to a financial person. We don't get back with me yet. We try to see how we will work on, because what thing I mean the talk was we needed to build. We can build a medical center. We can build a center. We can build a hospital in Freetown. Other nations are doing it. Sierra Leoneans can come together. And one thing where I say, because long time ago, when the company they be there na Sierra Leone, when the companies that we be there, the oil, tobacco, the this, the that, all them big companies, them Agenet, PZ, Kingsway Chemist, they had shares. When the people and they work with them, then they make them buy shares. And my grandfather bought shares, and he will to me mama right now. My mama and they collect the shares. My stepdaddy, who they work for Lloyd's of London, he was a marine engineer. In shares we buy from the company. Guess what? Me mama. So I say we can do them, because sometimes Sierra Leoneans don't want to give them money. It is difficult for bring people together. So, but if we come with that initiative, say let us buy shares into the business. Because it is a business, everybody can forget profit. But we go get a diagnostic center, because the government say it won't do them. But the government say they don't get 3 million, whatever million, where they don't get it from the anti-corruption. And then somebody else, they match them or what. But us Sierra Leoneans, because our people are dying. And I know say one young boy, we put Daniel graduates FBC. He graduates, before he graduated, he was diagnosed with cancer. There's nothing there for saving life. Yes, people die. But like I make the audio and say, in these parts of the world, they say we did everything we could. At least we have a 50-50 chance of life. But all I know, they don't get no chance. So that was the motivation when a caller made, say, why don't we in the diaspora, us in the diaspora, and even people on the ground in Sierra Leone, we can come together, we can build this hospital, we buy shares. If you put whatever the amount of money you put, that's the amount of shares. It's a technical thing. It's going to take a little bit. It might seem like, kind of easy, because I was so excited and I was so motivated with that. So that then they make, but we they work on them. It's a team now. It's from the VOS social media team now who will lead that day, and we try to bring people then together on board who will all go waiting and call. But as soon as we get something, we will come back to Una. So thank you again, my brother from Australia. Is it Alusino? I forget your name. I think whatever. But yeah. So go ahead, Mr. Ting. So that was what he was talking about. So I just want to get that.
Thank you, Madam Salima.
Yes.
You got anything you want to add? Kutubu, you got anything you want to add?
Me?
Kutubu.
Professor Kutubu.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to add? Kutubu.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. The collective tragedy.
So be a short time so that we go check on the other callers then.
Where they pick them?
Oh,
no, finish quick, Professor. Finish.
Be quick. Be
the callers.
No, go ahead, sir. So you can finish.
Because you go forget.
No, I don't forget. Pick the callers. I don't forget.
Okay. Caller, if you did waiting, your name, who say they call from?
Hello, viewers. It's Nakumaro de Switzerland. Let I make something clear. Just like within that man the talk about the cyber law. Cyber law, necessary because even me a victim, somebody don't call me na phone, don't cost me my man a phone. Yeah, if it happen at least I'll get side for reports or na salon out for reporter. But we know for what this cyber law when we come to only government and politicians. Now we want the cyber law to we self how it will benefit we. What are the benefit we get? The law not for only government officials that may come, it is everybody. But the way it go now, it looks like a law for at least a target opposition, target people the way they talk about government. So they make the cyber law unnecessary. Then we talk something again, Mr. The panelists and they talk about this bio statement. You see, now bio don't hold the international world. It portrays along the wrong way. We all know what in the go on. Things that go up not to by 50, not to by 20, by 100% in that country. Things that they go up by 100%. But this now we don't know. We want to see civil societies and they come up, but at least they go against what Bio don't talk, or at least try to defend the people and your interest. Not rather than we see politicians. We don't want to see politicians because they will take as a politics statement. But when we see civil society, then they come together and they condemn this statement where Bio go make. Unnecessary. We all know what they go on. No, we forget about what in the import. No, we talk about first now the local product where it go up by 100%. For instance, Sansan don't go up almost by 100%. That one with the bills na salon they know. That now local product, you don't go for pay custom. Then let I forget about now come for the most important way me na more interesting to me for now. What Mrs. Fadima talk about this investment. We left all these things, we feel in our government, maybe they like we because we feel saying that them for do everything in that country. So then they go to international world, they lie because the Sierra Leoneans' expectation for the government is high. So when the government sometimes they never do something, then they go out for lie at least for satisfy the Sierra Leoneans. We don't understand, we don't know what they go on. So now we want to see Sierra Leoneans and they come together. It happens all over Africa. That money where you put in a bank, you keep in a bank, you just sit on a bank, and they multiply for you. But this housing problem we they get in Sierra Leone, if we get Sierra Leoneans the way they come together, try for address them. Would I get 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, we reach 10,000. Salon is very expensive, but also cheap for invest. 10,000 don't do at least who build. If now my 91 or my sheka, it will build a 2-room and parlor. You don't solve one family in problem. in as much as you not go get a lot of income, but the income where they can small for a lifetime. Once the Sierra Leoneans they come together, not only for come together talk about politics and social media, but now we try for at least put yourself together. We go to develop that country. It happen all over. You know, even in Europe, it happen. Not honor the people. The company we work with, the construction company we work with. Now we three with the boss. Now we work. Three, a very good construction company. Only 3 people. You know, so you don't need. Let make something again quick. Do you to what Mr. Kutubu talk? But sorry, Mr. Shilon talk about the parliament. Mr. Shilon, explain to we much again. Do you about the parliament because he say then tell we say the parliament any to wait and say. Nobody no go challenge at the court, you know. And what they say na final, they're not going to challenge. So tell me again more about the parliament. Try for educate you again. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Any more calls? Any caller, Dede? Okay. Well, now let me come back to the panelists then. Anybody gets anything we don't want to add again to?
Yeah, I want to talk on the climate change because they talk of the climate change, the projects, the way they do, the disaster management, but we see Black Johnson. And as much as in Black Johnson, we don't see long time ago, they say when I get equal and then but I just finish quick. Long time ago, long time ago, they don't can do a survey, they don't can do, you know, studies on that area, and they don't say not a good place for do what thing that they do so today. But we see the president, they don't sign with the Chinese them with the Black Johnson. Then we are here again on Liberia radio, because on Liberia radio we are here where they talk of companies them, Chinese company them, where they bien Kailao, where they do mining, then they do illegal mining inside Africa, inside Sierra Leone. But these are all environmental stuff. People then they go, then they dig, then they cut down trees. We see the lumber thing. We see then they destroy. Then they destroy the environment, destroy the country. Then they exploit. These people are coming in. Our leaders are allowing them to come exploit we. And then the people that will live, they know the benefit from waiting we own land, they give and produce. But yet, the other people that outside, then they still they get. They say that they make deal, then they make deal way good for salon. Are we desperate for investors? Then with a mortgage, the future of the country, the environment? Because we talk of climate change. We say they don't put together climate change and all this other stuff. We see the mudslide when it happen because people they don't cut down trees. There's no regulation, building codes not there. Usai for bill, Usai not for bill, Usai the tick them there because long term when they look up like FBC and that when you look up then side and you see the green, you look with mountain there, but now you see the host and they take up yonder. Everybody they sell land, we're not supposed to sell land. The one that when they inside the government, they give to people them. People are just doing. Then they talk of laws. Laws are in the books, but we not sabi follow law. That is the thing. We go follow law now with Islam country where we did. But when we go to our own country, we not sabi follow law. And that is the thing. We not sabi follow law. We not get integrity. It talk about checkmates. It talk about they checking themselves. The self-assessment, choose for checking themselves. You know, he said they check themselves. That's what the president said. They are checking themselves. But we see ministers in the BCA, but President Bio is not saying anything about it. He's allowing them because in silence to us, we assume say he agree with them. Because if me gets a minister, just like it pleases the president to appoint, it should displease the president of the behavior of a minister or somebody in cabinets that he appoint for let and go because of the bad behavior and the bad things that they do. But they're not saying nothing in order for come up behind that because they're all in the same cabal. And that is the frustration. We will never go forward. Then we say we want to sit in the Security Council. No, we will never have it because we're not sabi take care of wisdom. We're not sabi take BA. We're not they put nothing inside it. We're not able, but yet we want to play with the big boys. We cannot do that. It's not possible. It was possible maybe later. It is good to have that aspiration. It is good to get that dream day. It is good to see that one day I can do it. But the vision, how forgets day. You get for begin from Musa Yude. And if we're not clean with country, if we not do the right thing, I mean, we just go in circles. You know, the circle may go around 360 degrees. We just go circle. We just go no more. We just go the same thing. Whether they come, it makes so. Whether they come, it waits in a call. So I pass it back to you, Madam Josina. I pass it back to you.
I thought we can get some callers then. Caller, waiting your name, where you call from?
Yes. My name is Bendo. I call from Kansas City.
Hello, Bendo. How are you, madam? Welcome.
I did do well. I did tell you all 2020 thank you for making program they are accessible to some of us. Even though sometimes we can listen to them, we take a break before we break down. But to me, I listen to the president's speech, and I'm not going to say call and we say I've been for column, but I've been just amazed say Nasalon in the talk box. And to me, I will say one word where I feel very embarrassed for no say with president they talk to the world. Where you come up na then kind stage then now the world they talk to. And going back looking at some of the documentary where people they can get our country, they can shed light on some things that we self-separate come out alone. We self-separate don't live in a salon, not even get a clue. So those people where they mingle with we, they know more than waiting with President'sMaada that program they talk about. But needless to say, I don't just come to realize say the politics na salon, me not a politician at all, far from it for no, and one for even no, for engage, or one for even engage. Because it's so toxic to the point that even the one the way they holler for SLPP, they're not even they realize what's good and what's bad for we all. Unfortunately, if salon good, now we only good for. If he bad for we all. But coming back to me on this way to make a call, Miss Fadima, I not been engaged in the same way when I get the program, but the investment stuff where they talk, but I'm very interested. If there's any way where I will contact you, where now when I say when I be work on the nitty-gritty, I not get any input so far, but me na a medical person in America, yeah, I don't study now, I don't do now, I do a little bit of finance, not much, but I'm very interested in whatever contribution when we go able to give. I'm more than willing. My bags are packed. I'm ready. I don't think I want to go home. So
we can do this.
We help we can do it. It's not good for we all. So
yes,
now that's something. I'm interested, and when I get me email, we all sit down and put it together because SLPP, APC, NGC, PPP, and double P, no, they do any good. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Bendo. Long time, assistant. God bless you.
We get one more call. Caller. We get one more call. Caller. Who side they call from? What's your name? Hello, caller. What's your name? Who side they call from?
Hello. Yeah. I'm for they call from London.
Yes, caller. You get 3 minutes. Yeah.
Mina 4 day they call from London.
4 days from
now. 4 days.
Yeah. I think we as Sierra Leoneans, we're not honest to ourselves. We're not honest to ourselves in the sense that 60 years of independence, what you would not achieve. 60 years of independence, who Sierra Leonean millionaire way would get Nasalo the most of. Who's benefit, who don't benefit from resources then? The president they talk of, he don't address the health issues, internet issues. Now cottage we the say people and they die we light no the basic goals they know the for treat woman the way they born. Water no dey for them. You understand? And we always they celebrate their lie there past government, present government, we always they celebrate the failures of them government there. We know they think about how would they progress the country for being one of the developed countries in that world. You see, we now foreigners and they benefit from that country there. No Sierra Leone not the way they benefit. We were there at the diaspora, you go there for go do anything, then they sabotage you. Then they undermine you. From your family to the government, then see you as an enemy, an outsiders. You see? So, but now if we're not honest to ourselves, that country, they not go ever progress. They not go ever progress. Because we dishonest to ourselves. You see? Look, Nigeria. You get Nigerians, they're wealthy, Dangote. Now Nigerian, not a foreigner. Now they fix Nigerian problem so now. Who Sierra Leone will go call say na indo toxic na Sierra Leone. Leaders then they come, then they connive with foreigners them, Lebanese, Europeans them, for go milk country, milk resources them. We not get good schools, go na their schools them. See the poor conditions of the schools them, see the poor conditions of the health service. How long will they pandang inside the 21st century? When?
You get 30 seconds left, caller. You get 30 seconds left.
So, now my own contribution.
Oh, thank you.
When we did think about development and progress, we get for be honest to ourselves. Thank you very much for giving me the time and space.
Thank you, sir. We get any more caller? Any more calls? Any more calls? Okay, let me come back to the panel. Anybody want to say anything?
Yes, hello. Yes. Hello, this is Lance and Asako again. I've been listening and Mr. Temple addressed the issues that were raised. So I recall in again for just try for add me on 2 cents inside it. Hello?
Yes,
hello?
Go ahead, Mr. Lanson.
Go ahead.
All right, okay, Mr. Temple, first of all, again, I mean, I don't ever see you on social media, or maybe I don't see you, I just probably not get time. But first, I want to commend you that you're very, very knowledgeable and very articulate in your submissions, and I believe, say, you get Sierra Leone at heart. So I want play you feel, play you know, say, this platform, now for make we share ideas and let people and get different perspectives about things the way they go on our country. So then self go take action and try for see how then go participate and do something. Now you address me issue, and I want for a little bit differ from you, the lawyer Dede, Ingo able for tell we waiting at the try for say. The issues the way you highlight say are not talk, but if you really imagine the only thing where me come in for talk, but and I tell you I say the rest of the things the way you talk they are very correct. The issue where me highlight like the cyber law where you say they replace as if it's a punitive measure that the government of Maada Bio take for make it able for muscle free speech. And me differ from that completely, say it's not. Now you raise the issue of the boy where go Nabo, where talks in an escroma na in build the stadium Nabo. If you go on Facebook, you go see 3 days in a row they lambast the government for that particular issue. Say let them arrest the people where put that boy inside Motka. Their faces are not hidden. Then they so an easy way for attack them. And at that time, I don't even know whether they're government officials or not, because my plain clothes them been wear. So, and I make that comment, they say, I don't know if not government officials or if not citizens, but whatever they are, they need to be arrested. Then don't violate that mandate in freedom of speech. And I go on to you say that particular part, that one they not to cyber not to cybercrime. And you mentioned the police or the army man them na the lodge. That one they back not to cybercrime, then commit. That one they na misconduct in their capacity as bodyguards for the president or whatever capacity them they work in na misconduct. That one they left them duty, then go do so. That not to cybercrime. Na thing where they use self, you use computer, you use other things them for cause serious issues against an individual, and it can even be money laundering or other things. But those two are not cyber crimes. And I did advocate, if you go on social media, you will see that I go 3 days in a row. They hit the government. I even call Nabo, let them show me who na this boy are in family, because Nabo are born na they are grow up. I try for get a way how. Now from you now, I don't can know, and thank you very much for where you make and know say this man the Pademba Road. And by God in power, myself, maybe I go there in contact with you. I go try forget your number. I they left here on the 30th of October. I they go. When I come on Rwanda, they go direct in a salon, and I go make sure say Mr. Something and go lock me up, because why they lock this guy up? We have to find out why. Why them go hold them and them holding freedom na in hand just because he talks say an escroma na in build the stadium. Of course, na an escroma na in time na build the stadium, and that is true. You know, lie at all. He did not lie. Everybody gets the right for this grown truth. Sorry. Yeah.
That's what you want to round up. You can round up. You're 3 minutes on done. Just round up.
Okay.
I'll give
Okay. All right. So okay. Well, that's all I wanted to say. So that then too, then they qualify for be cybercrime, and I did speak on that issue of the issue the way you raised, and plus the army issue. I spoke on it too. If you go on Facebook, you'll see it. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, Mr. Benson.
You want to say anything, Mr. Temple? Mr. Temple, you want to briefly say anything?
Yes, what I go and say, because I know I'll go back and forth with this issue. Why me feel say that soldier the issue then as cyber crime related? Because we are talking about cyber, which has to do with the use of the internet, be it WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever, but has to do with electronics publication or electronics so something. This now, then soldier man and then a president's lodge, in as much as not professional misconduct, but it was done through filming. Now they self-film that thing they saw with their phone and post them at the social media. So if now they film themselves, then post on the social media, one, it is professional misconduct from the military code of ethics point of view. And secondly, now a cyber, because what you make for when they don't film themselves, when they use threatening remarks, then send on the social media. And again, what I want to say, I want to add to waiting Madam Fatima Savage talk about the issue of global warming and the president in speech at the UN summit. Why I will also say here again that President Bio and in government not really serious about fighting global warming in this country on the premise of deforestation is this year. Some 2-3 months ago, I be the champion one cause from the National Protected Area Authority point of view. And the National Protected Area Authority, now the institution established through an act of parliament in 2012 for protect the environment so that people do not go deforestate the environment leading to global warming. Okay, the executive director of the National Protected Area Authority, who is Mr. Ranto Musa, I investigate some issues that we get for do with deforestation na Toke. And Toke na one of we forest reserve areas then where the European Union don't spend money for let the government preserve. But the head of the National Protected Area Authority, what they call NPAA, Mr. Ranto Musa, decide for allow some Chinese man them, then go do mining that Toke area day, then deforestate a large portion of the Toke area where the mining company then call them Hontai mining company, a Chinese company. When they deforestate that area, the forest guards them where they work for the National Protected Area Authority, then go there and go arrest the Chinese man there. So, be it as it may, the Chinese man then pay over 240 to 50 million leones to the National Area Protected Area Authority for waiting reforestation. After they don't deforestate the place, then pay 240 million and above for them go plant trees then the back, we go reforestate the area. Could you imagine, say the head of the National Protected Area Authority use this money for a different purpose? He said he go organize retreat in Abo. I take this information also and everything to the Anti-Corruption Commission. Up till now, nothing has been done. So this is to show that the president and the government are serious about climate change and deforestation. The other issue again, I want to make my audience know, including owners at this platform here. Now the fact that from Sussex to Bobo and number 2 river, also we get the Guma Valley water catchment area, the second dam in this country. Could you imagine, say, under the National Protected Area Authority, even though the European Union give money for them to protect the area, then they Sussex, Bobo, and number 2 river, they don't sell most of their land, and they like how normal Madam Fatima Savage they talk so when you pass now number 2 river drive from Goderich area. Now, so you go see the ocean, they don't go right up the hill, they don't cut all the trees then they. So if the president they talking at the UN summit say is committed to global warming and fighting climate change, then the institution established by law for monitor and protect the area then they are not serious about that. People they cut trees, they don't go build us then they. This is why I said the deception under this government is so mouth-washing.
Okay. Let me add me your voice there now, because when I all don't talk, but I'm not see nobody not mention gender equality. When I don't mention gender equality, and I think the president mentioned something like gender equality. We speak on that when you want to say something on. The president said that they promote gender equality. I don't say it that way at all. May not say it that way, because from where this president come in power, okay, he give 1 or 2 women, you come where they upside down at this area. He give 1 or 2 people and we very close to the corridors of powers, we know women they give them position. But a government we want to promote women equality. The only person where the government seem and where Mother Bio promotes now in wife Fatima. Now I know how it promotes. You get me? This is my own opinion. You get me? Because Fatima happens to be the only person where they do almost everything in the country. Not that other women know they. Women they can do them. But Mother Bio refused to give other women the opportunity. Everywhere na Fatima they go. Everywhere na they go. Call it jealous because you get some people where they say, oh, it is jealous Fatima. Yet I have no reason to jealous them anyway, because you not get nothing past me. Get me, you see, so yes. So basically that's because if I'm not go big to nobody, she's a pretty girl, you understand? You see, I agree with that, you see. May not know if me pretty or not, you see, but I'm not saying she's very beautiful. You get me? You see, so but now the truth come on everything. So you get so many women then, wayside and the way you go take them go. But everywhere from where this government come, now Fatima no more it is single also. You can say Fatima gets with it do. Why can't she focus on in charity in the own? You get me? But everywhere na Fatima. Everywhere na Fatima. So you not promote women. You not promote women at all. Whatever the reason we make it promote Fatima so much, it's best known to Bio and Fatima. You get me? But a president, no, they do things like that. Go now the way, no, if you know presidents, they do things like that. You get me? You see? Fatima not an elected person. Fatima not just a wife, like any other wife. You get me? Fatima, he get right, yes, if he goes on side, in man they go, he go with them, although not to everywhere, he go with him. Again, only they alone know the reasons why they make Fatima always there for their BN, with Bio they go. You understand? Maybe Fatima na the God. Get the way they protect Bio, we don't know. You understand it? You see? So these are the things. These are the things, because each time I go, I don't know whether Fatima declared per diem or not. We don't know. So long not take sin panam. It's possible to say they go with his husband, but now he take nothing. You see? But if they go, if they take again, and all and have plenty money. Women then they, women and then a salon, educated women and then a salon. Women and this way, not to say the education safe, but we're competent enough. We know to everybody being get locked for go that plenty book, but then very competent, they can and go any side and can do things, you see. But it not give nobody chance. You get me? So many say, in effect, beyond not talks to mislead the United Nations by saying that they promote women equality. No, you not do that. So that side you only pick down up at all. Maybe some of you, I don't know, I will agree with me at the panel, or maybe you will agree with me at the panel, but that is just my own views, and I'm entitled to my views. You get me? That is how I see it. And then when I talk about this, the deception, I agree with Mr. Tayo, Mr. Edith Tayo Temple, and I don't know, somebody else mentioned that. It's full of deception, yes, and very deceptive government in some ways, you see. Not because they fool people that, and then supporters them all. Because you mentioned a particular guy in Ayasu. If that particular guy there, I listened to one audio just before I come on air, maybe sometimes I make a member, you get me? This guy they talk say, now because Diogo give that speech, now United Nations, now he make the next morning and give them $59 million. Not also the United Nations they operate.
Exactly.
Not also United Nations they operate. You see, so I feel in this way, I foresee that now, so because this not a platform where they go far. You see, so let other people they know say that man they deceive people, they know to true. United Nations, no, they behave like that. You know, they go talk, see they then can give you money. It's not possible. That's not a blatant, in an untrue statement, and because I don't want to say it's a lie. In an untrue statement, and you get me? You see, then where he talks say, but all the people then when they go now in then call, then pick and say that are the best. Where you go for go talk for 159 countries or something like that. That is not how it operates. You get me? If you look and say that United Nations place, if you not see where the chairs them but we're empty, you see, because they're so empty. You get certain people that way then they go talk. The place they full. The people that way matter. Way as far as the United Nations concerned, they get the one that way matter to them. They get the one that way no matter. You get me? Eh? I'm not saying that we present no matter, but if you go and also empty chairs, then you see, people that know they say. You get me? So for saying that because na in and choose na in na the most powerful past the whole Africa na because they do this and do this, na a blatant lie. Then we left for the fool with people then I say Leone. We need for tell them the truth because this General Kaloko is not doing the voters any justice. In order to do Sierra Leoneans any justice because in order to tell them the truth, what can happen? In effect, they get people then for fool them, then people then go vote for them. You see, and we have to get it right this time. If they get for vote for Bio again, let it be that they vote for Bio, then believe say yes, Bio deserve for go a second term. But may they not go vote for Bio on the basis of lies. You see, where they deceive the people then. The way they don't go lie to the people then, and then the people then can't get for no say now, not to so, it don't late. You see, so these are the sort of things we get for the highlights all the time that this will program and other platform them as well. People then for the highlight time. The people then they left for lie too much. Some of we then I won't know how the Western world they operate. We know that the people they know where they stand, we don't understand that they can lie to. The way say, oh, now you know more than peak for go talk for the whole of you AU. Then guess normally now rotating something. If they rotate, so when it rotates, another person take them up. You see, so there's nothing so spectacular about the president, nothing so special about the president. We make the way that they talk and say, oh, now because he can be. No, in fact, some world presidents have adopted the presidency themselves. I'm talking about, oh, he was invited to Harvard. One thing people don't know is people write and tell these institutions that they want somebody to go and speak to them. Just like Chatham House in the UK. People always say, you know, they ever say that they go ask Chatham House and they say that Chatham House invites them. No, they never invite them. Now they say they make their own arrangement. Then people then wait and maybe sometimes the ambassadors then where they go make the arrangement, they say, or somebody within the embassy go make the arrangement and decide say for make it can give a speech or something like that, you see. Then they can't then they make it look now as if now Harvard, now in column, you understand it? Yeah, it's possible to say Harvard column, you see, but one thing we know about, you see, then they have the operate now people they can go organize, they arrange, you get me? They send call them, you get me? Because when you look at it, we presidents get history, you get me? And then consider that's what they talk about, you get me? Eh? Some history then if some people they know they allow themselves now in university, you get me? That's what the history and makes Strasser left UK, you see? When people then know certain things, the students they're not agree. They say no, we don't agree. Whether Strasser been do anything or not, they don't want to. They don't want and you get me? That's what it come out. So we have to be very careful how we talk. It just can't like when you can't talk, say, oh, then give this person award. Well, like I tell you now with this boku of that award they give people them. Yeah, so people don't know about that award they say. You get some 2-3 organizations, then you have to make something that tell you an organization no more, then go and make small paper, then say we award you. Then they take another, then make them they hype them over, say, oh, then okay, give them award in the UK. You understand? Serious award in the UK, it is all over the newspaper. Serious award in Europe, it is in all the television paper, then television, news, newspaper, everything it they know. You see? So we have to be very careful how we deceive the people then. You know, nice at all for the deceive the people then. You see, so me not get for say much because I don't make when I all don't talk all the talk done. One thing I remember again for talk is that juju man we say he worked for Fatima then. You see, that juju man they arrest him. You get me? Just the freedom of speech. They arrest him. You get me? Now let's go to Camarimba. This is one topic that yes, again, it's used of Camarimba, you get me. I don't condone rape. I be against rape completely. But when you look at with him with the talk Nayan, Camarimba, you see, he don't do all this time. Camarimba not gets bail. Now then, get some stringent conditions in bail, we make it almost impossible for making come out. But I don't know. I don't know if I even say maybe he don't get some or some talk they come out around the possible say now lie in the lie against the first lady. Something they lie against Fatima. Fatima not say so. But waiting they go all over social media is that Fatima say if they pull Camarimba over in dead body in no come out, you see. Well, I don't want to believe that talk there because I don't feel say he will do that, you see. But if he did say he do that, then you see. I don't know waiting for let somebody get such a very strong mind. You get me? For somebody we entitled to justice. He entitled to justice. If not the yes of he entitled to bail again the bail. You get me? He come out. You see? So like all the time they see degree of injustice they ban. Because if really this man do something, you see, why they not don't try him up till today? It is 9 months, you see. You see, so we get for begin understand how the judicial system they operate in Salon, now because politics not involved this so much. That is why if I have my way, maybe politicians should have nothing to do with the judiciary. They should have nothing to let these people then just operate independently. You see, because if they not operate independently, you see, then they cause so much degree of injustice to people then. You see, because then they're afraid for loss and job, or then they're afraid for good at the bad books of the president or the politicians and all that, you see. So these are the sort of things we get for looking to, and somebody like Mr. Temple, we happen for the amongst we were a journalist. These are the sort of things that we want all for the take up. I know say una say things tough for una because una want do una job, but they know they allow una for do una job. You get me? Because we do something, they say you are biased, you see. I have been told that I'm biased several times. Last Sako accused me last week say I'm biased. You get me? Just the way they say biased. So that's but not so anything, you understand? Because we didn't then kind of from there. So obviously they expect anybody for say anything. People only they say how they feel. And it's like when you come back and talk to them, you see how he come back and talk to you. Initially he talked that way, you understand it? But when you talk to her now, the situation is different, you see. Yeah. So these are the sort of things who they tell una the journalists and una not giving at all. Una just try for do always una able to do for the poor people that we're not able to get. You see, this is one of the reasons why we're so glad when you come this show, this we broadcasting show will get, and we hope say you will be trying for come back. You see, at least you educate me a lot on a lot of things where some of us not be know. You educate me a lot on them. You get me? You see, and Mr. Shillon, now the one you say, you educate me, you say a lot of things very good. You understand it? The queen of VOS. You talk past me, sir. You get me? The queen, you take me place.
I'm humble.
You talk and you talk sense. Everything has sense. You talk a lot of things. Maybe sometimes I mean, you say things not for you to talk all the time the way you talk. You get me? You see, but that's all we decide for say. I'm not the whole more because the time done late. Unless if anybody wants to say anything, I like you now like 2 minutes now for Leone all round up. Then we can say goodbye. We're all round up 2 minutes.
Okay, let me round up. And if I go round up, I want for give an update about the Mohamed Kamaremba Mansare in trial, and also the position where we did presently from an informed point of view, owing to the fact that as a journalist within Sierra Leone presently and the follow-up the issues then. Fambul, the Kamaremba matter as we speak is this year. On the 7th of September 2021, this year we talk so in this particular month or so, Justice Samuel O. Taylor began for grant Kamaremba bail. But some people refer to the bail as stiff bail here, but in my estimation, it is not a stiff bail. Okay, Justice Taylor give Kamaremba bail on the 7th. On the 8th, then try for process the paper, Kamaremba not come out. On the 9th, then processing paper and not come out. On the 10th as well, it not come out. So people begin to ask, say, why is it that they don't grant Kamaremba bail, but enable for come out in detention up till now? Waiting Kamaremba in your side say, then give him a bail condition of say, if I produce 100 million leones, which according to him and in lawyer, Emmanuel Safar Abdullah Esquire, they don't provide that money there. Then say again, if I get 2 shorty, where then for be ordinarily resident na Freetown yaso and get Osna yaso, then they again don't be addressed. Then say again, if for the report, now the office of the master and the registrar tries weekly after it don't come out take in medical treatment done, they're willing for do that. The only 4 conditions where they say if you're doing in the court get bone of contention with as we speak, when they cannot come on do, then say it's supposed for handover in traveling documents them. That which in say it don't do. But the court on the premise of assumption, the court through the director of communications na the Salon Judiciary Day, when I want my own brother self-well in the journalism field, what they call Elka Sano. Elka Sano say, Mohamed Kamaremba Mansare no tender in international traveling documents them. According to Elka Sano and that of the Kamaremba camp, Elka Sano say, and through the judiciary, that Kamaremba no tender in American documents or whatever as the case may be, passport or so. Kamaremba say he no get American passports. In a Sierra Leonean citizen and the Sierra Leone passports we get, now he tender to the court so. So the bone of contention now is Kamaremba, according to the court, on the premise of assumption, they assume say Kamaremba get international traveling documents them where in all submit up till now. So because they not submit one and they then say if I submit the international passport or traveling documents and they. So because of that, the court is not convinced with the documents the way it tender. So because of that, the master and the registrar could not process his documents. So that is the reason why Kamaremba is still in detention.
I will ask Mr. Shillon, make it rub him up and this more because he know the American law yonder more. But based on what he know in UK, you see, you can still then too. You get all the facilities that I have, but you not get British passport. So there's a possibility that Germany is not being get American passport, but it gets me no if you wanna call them green card or something. Yeah. You see, when you they get ordinarily resident, but you not get passport. So people can entitled to cancel number take them. And I remember when Kamarimba started politics, this is what I heard in speech the way he can give. Kamarimba na the one person where them they talk was say the one that will get British passport. Now in they talk and say, well, if they really talk against that, you see, because in get in Sierra Leone passport, he always talk him. Me, I don't hear you he talk and a speech them boku. You get me where he talk say, well, the one they wait and they say, I think with that kind of young girl talk being come or other talk, they talk say, well, at least you know get nothing for worry because in saloon passport now ain't get now they go up and down carry. You get me? You see, so if you don't produce that saloon passport today, and not for that the court can say they wanted a passport. You don't produce a passport. You say another passport they get. If the and then you come again and make you go swear affidavit. You see, you can go swear affidavit in court. Once you don't go swear affidavit, that's it. Then it's up to you now. If they catch you in the end saying a lie, you lie, na affidavit, then you don't commit perjury. You don't go lie under oath. You get me? But anyway, I don't know. I will call Mr. Shilo making educate we on the American lawyer and that. Dear Mr. Shilo, very small thing now before we log off.
Before I say anything on that, I want to ask Mr. Temple, is the master and registrar still Miss Bola Archibald? Who is the master and registrar?
The master and registrar is Madam Ellen Thomas. She's Madam Ellen Thomas now they work with the Chief Justice when Barrister Edwards. But Ellen Thomas, none of the current master and registrar, sir.
Okay.
Ellen Thomas.
Okay. Now, when the court because I don't want to let it look like a question and answer session, but the court not be originally apply the presentation of in passport as a condition for release, not so originally.
No, they just say traveling documents. They say for tender in traveling documents so that they're able for confiscate them and bar him from traveling. So they're not able for travel out of the country and jump bail. So they say for tender in traveling documents, that which is said he has done traveling, tendering his Sierra Leonean passport and also be done swear affidavit for say the documents the way he tenders so that he gets as traveling documents. But the court on the premise of assumption say he has international traveling documents which he has not tendered. So you realize the bone of contention.
Okay. Now, here is the point in terms of bail or the granting of bail. You know, because as lawyers, we get to take this presumption of innocence very seriously. Because the defendant, as we go say back home and we say the accused, is only an accused. He's only being accused. He's presumed to be innocent. With that presumption, it goes with him until he goes through trial, until the jury return a verdict of guilty or not guilty. Yeah. So when a judge did grant bail or hold a hearing for bail, the purpose of the bail now for ensure the return of the person back to court, for trial. For ensure the detention of the person as it appears is being done with this current Kamarimba. Yeah, Kamarimba. Yeah. Mm. So you see, there is some violation of because I'm sure the judges or the system understands the whole purpose of bail. I think you see the trouble when you see if you allow that to happen to him, you are enabling the system for make that happen to other people. This is what people don't realize. So we all should stand up and defend the Kamarimbas, whether you support them politics or not. This man, as far as I know, is being accused of rape. But it's an accusation. That's why he get for getting there in court. And we for respect that presumption of innocence there. The problem now, as I see, and I think is very dangerous. If we, and first again, I give the judge credit for even granting bail because it looks like, for say, this guy almost was not going to make it. Just no judge had the guts for granting bail. Then eventually to grant him bail and then they begin for superimpose all the subsequent conditions there. It doesn't speak well of the system. But here again, this is what I am encouraging young lawyers. Come and remember a lawyer for challenge that on constitutional grounds, that his client is being held unconstitutionally. And someone had called earlier and talked about if I can shed some light on the Constitution and Parliament. There is no question that the Constitution is supreme. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Parliament can pass no laws that violate any section of the Constitution. And if Parliament does that, and lawyers take the matter to court, they can ask the court to strike that law as being invalid, and the court has the authority to do so. And when the court does that, that becomes the law. There are a lot of old adages then that will, when they talk, Parliament, then they make laws, then only Parliament make laws. No, the courts make laws too. Because when a court strikes a statute or an act, that decision by the court becomes the law. And so that's a form of making laws. So the courts do make laws, not only Parliament, So legal or court decisions are laws that cannot be violated. And so the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, not Parliament. Parliament cannot pass any laws or violate any section of the Constitution. But the lawyers are strongly encourage them to challenge these things. If he had an American trained lawyers, that law would have been challenged long time ago on constitutional ground. My client will have never been kept there, will have been at the Supreme Court by now, forcing the Supreme Court forgive a landmark decision if the system allows that. Because you see, you got to hold the court's feet to the fire. If the court wants to make bad laws, let them make bad laws, which will speak good of them. But these undue advantages are going on and on and on, and no one is challenging these extraterritorial kind of behavior. So it will continue. Again, I strongly encourage the lawyers to push hard. Some of the talented lawyers there, they cannot, because you see, this profession used to be called the noble profession. I don't know whether it deserves that name anymore or that phrase anymore in Sierra Leone, because most of the things we see that are not being done or that are being done by the profession itself are not noble. So we need to go back to the good old days when you don't have to be a rich man to have somebody fighting for you, because you have to have a calling for the profession. And therefore stand up for the rights of everyone, particularly the weak, not the wealthy. When I was growing up as a young man in Sierra Leone, my role model was a lawyer called T.S. Johnson. Most people may have never heard of him, but he was the best criminal defense attorney I think Sierra Leone ever produced. If anybody is familiar with the Kurubale case, Kurubale was the man who in broad daylight struck and killed at Wataki a top-notch, high-rank police officer, Mr. Grant. And for the first time, we'll get that kind of a murder day in plain view, broad daylight. And Kurubale was upset with Mr. Grant. Don't want to get into the story. No lawyer in Sierra Leone wanted to represent Kurubale because a capital case, they were trying to get lawyers from England for to represent Kurubale. Nobody would take his case. He had the money. but no lawyer had the courage. Mr. T.S. Johnson got up and said, we no need for bring lawyer from England. I will represent this man. The fact that to kill a police officer, he get a right to legal defense. And even if I have to represent him, I will do it for free. And you wanted to see a masterpiece defense. He represented Kurubale. The case went to trial before Justice Cole. At the end of the day, when the dust settled down, Kurubale was found guilty of manslaughter, only had 10 years. Because he had, there were mitigating factors as to how and why he committed the murder. So,
Mr. Shino, you see, in those days, that was when the profession was noble.
That's
politics
right.
Politics not being involved. But today, politics involved into every aspect of that country. Everything in that country, politics involved. Now I'm bug we. You get me? Because me always say, if Kamarimba rape, let it face the law, make it suffer the consequences. But it don't reach a stage now where me self now. You get me? Eh? Kamarimba in defense. If Kamarimba wants money for pay for in defense, I not get money, but I will put money. I will help for pay in defense. Not because I support rape, because if you be say a rape that picking day, let it go jail. For life, waiting the law say let them deal with them. But waiting and they do so now, we not like. Just like when you say, if it happen to anybody, to Cameroon, it can happen to any of we.
Yep.
So we have to do something. I called somebody, I said, I am willing to help to pay Kamarimba in lawyer bills. I call somebody in private. I tell the person, we're very friendly to Kamarimba. You get me? The person know. You see? And the person will all go, no, but you know, no more saying that person that I spoke to. You see? Because I think the injustice pass mark. You get me? All we want is let them get the opportunity, make it go to court, then they go find them guilty, then find them guilty. If they only find them guilty, then free them. You understand? I am quite happy to put my money on in defense. You get me? Eh? Yes.
Because yes, Madam Carrie Johnson, before Mr. Shilon continue in addendum to what you want for say, I just want for set the record straight and try for clear the ear here. Because he say on a repeated time where you don't come into this matter, you are talking about rape. Kamarimba being accused of rape. According to the what should I say, the charge sheet here, Kamarimba is not being tried for rape, is being tried for sexual penetration. And the lady where they also they go through the trial when Marion Aruni in for aiding and abetting conspiracy, because they say the picking under review na this Marion Aruni na ingiam to Kamarimba, and Kamarimba is being accused for sexual penetration, not rape. In as much as according to the legal jurisprudence here, which is a common law, the court of law say we will not for discuss the nitty-gritty of a matter because we will be roped in for contempt of court. And so as a journalist myself, I would not want to be roped in for a contempt of court. So we are not really discussing the nitty-gritty of the matter, but I just discuss the bail condition where they don't give and where they don't meet it, and also for set the record straight, Kamarimba is not being tried for rape, but for sexual penetration of a minor. Yeah.
But for sexual penetration of a minor, if you find it a crime, you then find them guilty. One people what they say we don't use say minor. The one say we're not a minor, we're not adult. You get me? You do that with adults without the adult in consent.
Consent, you're right.
You get me in a crime. You see? Yeah. So nobody no go support Kamarimba. That's what we are saying here is this. If you don't you don't meet all the conditions of bail, then you don't give the passport when you get. You don't give the passport and say traveling document. You don't give the traveling document. We say go na the bit for. You see, then it make me now want to think whether it's politics or not. When they talk say, now Fatima Bio did anything, Fatima Bio say enough for common, because Kamarimba was the first person to make a statement after Fatima Bio married, and Fatima Bio be the challenge them, and Kamarimba be the challenge them. Could that be a reason why he's suffering? If that's not the case, Fatima, you know, member say you born Pekin. Sometimes I say, come for not a jump fire. You can do something today, something where you don't die. Now wait till you do to people, then they happen to you picking them. You get me? You see? So these are the sort of things we get for the tell Fatima then parable, and they, because sometimes you don't understand, you don't know parable, and they, you get me? It's possible saying a lie in the life per Fatima. But if it be saying that too, Fatima has to think, you understand, it won't picking them, what they do. You get me? The man don't produce everything. He don't produce person everything. So why are they keeping it there? Why are they assuming that, as Mr. Jallo say, as Mr. Shilon say, you see, the man is not guilty until they find a guilt and trial. You get me? This my bail, I can understand. With every court they ask you, the reason why they ask for a passport for making not abscond, making not run away. You get, but first of all, those people will put up them building the day. You think so they're crazy for go sell them host, put all that kind of money, then if they don't take a marimba, they run away. You see, they're not going to do that. You see, it is so. The thing is, the injustice is too much in that country. How we country can be na one great woman waiting is say 9 baby. That if not true, because me no know, because inside this politics now all man they talk lies. You see, the possible say they like my Fatima, no, you understand it? But too many things they come up now, and how would they see this thing? So it's wrong. You get me? It's just a shame that I have never had the opportunity for no Uda Nakamarimba in lawyer then. You get me? Because I'm quite happy to put my money Nakamarimba in defense. You get me? Yes. I'm happy for put. I don't get money, you get me? But except na 50 pounds, I say la pussy. You see, and this 50 pounds they go do something. You get me? Let this man get fair trial. Don't get fair trial. You see, if they convict and they go jail. That's all we want. But let not go put on, especially when the man sick and not get good health and all that thing. I remember when Fatima in brother died. But the whole country know how it affected her, how she took that death. Get me? Would she want somebody, a member of her family, for go through waiting Kamarimba they go through? Would Mother Bio want a member of her family go through waiting Kamarimba they go through so? Get me? Supporters of SLPP go can't tell me say I they support crime. No, I'm not supporting crime. So Kamarimba, let them put them to court, let them find them guilty. If they find them guilty, then get the strictest punishment they forget. The worst punishment for get if they say jail for life, they let them jail for life. You get me? But let them get the opportunity for proving it. You get me? Let politics not come make that man language stay it die. Na jail. You see? So I agree with what Mr. Shilon say. It's about time to let people they all. Let we talk openly. Because they talk openly about Kamarimba is sick one, now make bail come. They not be intent for giving bail. They had no intention of giving it. But when they say that die, don't come, Kamarimba don't die. You see, so they be worried now saying that this man not can die in a jail. They say he don't die in a jail. So they make it offer, but then the condition, the way they know say it's almost impossible for making it. But God can make it meet them. Get me? Then the one getting a passport, the man say not get passport. What else do they want again? So it's so clear seeing a politics into it. This government, they have to be very careful. You see, because what they are doing, another government we can go do them the same thing. You get me? They have to be very, very careful. So if anybody wants to say anything, we'll round up how we say, so that time don't go, so that we can clock off. Yes.
Professor Kutubo.
Professor Kutubo, come on.
Is he still around or has he left?
Yeah, he's there. Kutubu, ele. Again, from me.
Professor Kutubu. I'm not thinking about talking again.
No.
It's okay again.
Okay, let me go. First of all, I want to say thank you to Mr. Temple, because when you get somebody on the ground where they give you detailed information, because there's so many things out there that you get to find out waiting at the real to before waiting to go. A talk of they get an organization, attitudinal change. We get for change with attitude. And until we change our attitude and our way of doing things, we not will see the change where we deserve, the new direction that the president promised us. He was voted in because people that we don't tire with the old way, austerity and all that stuff. Therefore, they put her in there with a promise and an expectation of certain things. So the people are expecting of the president to do certain things. And one of the callers, they make a call, say, we are expecting too much from our government. Yes, that is true, but then they are there to provide services and the things them where they don't say that they do, they don't hold them to that say, we they give una this job for not gonna go do what's in the people they need. That's why we get every 5 years, if you know right, election will tell. But some people then they again, they not see. You will tell them the truth, they know why you they don't want to know because they get something where they call that like you are kind of like imprint yourself on somebody. You see yourself in that person because he's your countryman. If you're not able to do him, but you live in your life through that person because you identify of the same group who that come up on. So therefore, whether it do right or wrong, you know, see him. All Tina, yes, clap, good job, do good, yeah. You know, President Bill came with the intention. So it still get time in 2 years, it don't take 2 years more. It still get time for change. It still get time for go to the right direction, the new right direction for the people, for the sake of the people, because people are suffering, people are dying. There is so much what they call, and then we just come off space, America, okay? A young billionaire entrepreneur. I tell you, I say today, the middle class of Sierra Leone has disappeared. Because all the people let me there, then have been middle class. The middle class holds the society together. This now one man decide, the inspirational four, if you don't know, you go look at. On September 16, they took off now Florida. They go up to the orbit, up to space. In 3 days, then they can come back. They raise money for St. Jude. Waiting at St. Jude, St. Jude an hospital where they give free medical to people, to kids who get cancer. When their mama go there, they don't get for worry about money, they don't get for worry about whose side, they get for sleep, they get everything covered. This one man decided to come together and it motivate. It take 100 million of his own dollars. He's a billionaire. He put on there. He inspired other people. One of the nurses that went with her, we choose. She was a patient in our hospital there. Now been patients at our hospital there. And then he become a nurse, a medical practitioner in that place there. It give back to, because they don't give back to them. But we Africans, when they say, let us do this with a get with food, we all get by that, divide and conquer. If we come together, like I say again, we can do great things. You know, we can do great things. We hear Mr. Temple talk of the journalists, the Slaja, then their organization. Then we are not seen together because everybody is fighting for power. Everybody gets Usai one draw. They don't look at the whole. The mission is Sierra Leone. If we get that together, the mission is Sierra Leone. President Bill, in speech where he exaggerates on things them for making himself look and making country look good, but that is not the reality on the ground. Because we see, just like when I say, BBC comes and talk say, they want the women to eat 9 corporates, now 6 corporates they will afford. Now said that's now how many months ago? So now something that 9 corporates now 4 corporates and go able to afford. And then one mondo for one Pekin, one mama, one papa, one man take 1, 2 mondo, we go just hold them belly, malnutrition, sickness, all kinds of stuff they go on. You know, if they create a atmosphere where people are able to thrive, where building will come, where the condition will come, where people are safe, where the money go able to come. Because when you put your money in things, you want to see profit. You don't want to go for loss. But if they can make an environment, they begin build the infrastructures, they begin build life. Because there are other countries that will get factory, then third world country where they get factory, then China, then now America build China. And when I heard Kamala Harris called the Ghanaian president, I was like, they're going to build Ghana. because Ghana is not perfect, but Ghana, they puts the things in place where they make other people and they look at them. Because in her speech, she said, the American business people are flocking to Ghana. That was the word of the Vice President of the Republic of United States of America. Because they're trying to do the right thing. So we said can try for do the right thing, then we will see the change. But if we're not doing the right thing, we ought to do business as usual, because A don't do am, B for do am, C go do am next time. Whether they can turn and give, there's no continuity. Everybody's trying to score. Everybody want to be the first. There is nobody. But look at one man. He puts together 4 people, and right now they don't even what's in the money name we get Amazon Moss. If you don't put 50 million or whatever, people are pouring in money. He want to get 200 million. I want to raise for St. Jude. People and they pour money. People and they come outside because they have it and they're together because they see them. If they're not going for benefit for them, other people they say. So sometimes it's not because we don't benefit. Therefore, we don't want to make it right for other people for benefit. You know, and if we change the attitude, if we change our minds, I say again, the blockage of Sierra Leone, the blockage of Africa is in our minds, our heads. Until we clog ourselves, until we try to see things for how they are, if we try to put Sierra Leone force instead of party force or region force or tribe, it's okay to belong to little groups. There's greatness in diversity. But we have to, until then, like I can always say, the struggle continues unabated. But we get hope. That's why we're here. So till next Sunday, we will come to back with another edition of Social Media Review. I love you all. Remember, God is love. If you see how they shine today, not jealous me, go work on yourself. Tomorrow, the sun will be over you, the cloud will be over me. So till Sunday, by God's grace, I love you all. Let's go make the change. Let's go be that change we want to see. Let's go light somebody's world. Because it is because you have to have the heart. Within our streets, they swear bombs. Where yes, we get ancestral team then, but we they swear bombs, swear a treat. While the white man is progressing, while the other world is leaving us behind, we they swear bombs. Swear. Sometimes they swear the bombs swear because it look like we believe in God, but they're not afraid of God. They do things, and you ask them, how do they sleep at night with that kind of conscience? We they swear bombs swear now street, but yet they're going up space. They don't get how many million. You know, we can do it too. We can do it. Well, now we begin with we say. Let we be the man in the mirror. Let's look at ourselves. Let we look we self. Let we be the change. What can we do for somebody else? Not to wait till they get out of it, but what can I do to make a difference in somebody else's life? So till next week, I love you all. God is love. Fadima Mama. Salute you. Thank you again, Madam Cole, for inviting me. And thank you again to Mr. Temple. God bless you. May God preserve you because you're doing a fantastic job. I look at you, I hear you, and I see you're very objective. You're very in the middle. And keep doing it because you do the right thing. Speak for the voice because you chose a profession to speak for the people, the fourth estate. You're speaking for the people when don't get voice. And the truth, you will always sometimes find the courage to stand alone. It's hard to be talked to Usai people and not they talk to. But when you stand alone, it takes courage, it takes strength. So continue for do. Thank you again. And we will welcome you anytime. I hope so we reach out to you. We need you. You will be a blessing to the platform. Thank you very much. And good night, Fadima.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Kusubu. Your last word, good night.
Is he muted? He probably is muted. I don't know.
He's muted.
Yeah. You can say yours, Mr. Shilon.
Oh, yeah. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, and good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Mr. Temple, good night.
Good night, good night, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
I have to go to bed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Temple. You don't take so much.